I watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy, let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime!
Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
Rockstar energy gets me energized so I can go out and send it. Hustle on.
Welcome out to Road Atlanta. Thank you so much for joining us out here. This is round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Thank you so much for joining us out here. I am Jared Dienda. Really excited to talk to you and all the fans in the building and across the globe. How are we doing out there in Atlanta? As again, I'm Jared Dienda. Joining me here for pro competition. Round of 32, or sorry, round 2, but top 32. Ryan Montaigne. Ryan, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me here. You're doing double duty, both judging and giving some insight on what's going down out here on the track. But Atlanta, man, 20 years. I know you haven't been here since day one, but how iconic is this track in your mind?
This is the first round I ever attended as a fan back in 2000 and I believe it was 9. I came here down from Canada with some friends. It's back when I was competing, but this is my first round of Formula Drift that I ever attended, so it means a lot to me too. Not that I've been here since the beginning, but it was my first FD round I saw in person.
And that's how it does play a role in everybody's kind of drifting life. Some people, this is their first round. You know,
right.
they've never been here before. Like, my friend always told me about it. All right, let's check it out. I know Tyson, you know, my son, he's watching at home. My wife, Stephanie, even. Hey, I just want to give a shout out right now. I had a gentleman come over here, and he says, hey, my son, Josh Fables, he's 20 years old today. They came from Tampa, Florida. He's been having multiple surgeries on his lungs. He hasn't traveled since 2017, and it's his birthday today. So I want to give a special shout out to Josh Fables, who's joined us here in the building. And again, just more health issues. Speaking of lungs, our boy Tyler of Coro Works, he's currently in the hospital right now, and he's dealing with some cancer and some other things right now too. So our heart goes out to Tyler as well. But that's how important the Drift family is, right?
Yep.
So, you know, taking a look at everything that goes down here at Road Atlanta and how it progresses throughout the year. Everybody cheering on their favorite driver from their different region, right? I'm talking to the East 10 Drift guys. So, I mean, look at all the regions we go to. Here we are in Atlanta. Just 2 weeks. We're in Orlando, Florida, OSW, E-Town, the first ever purpose-built American Drift Coliseum, St. Louis, Missouri, Seattle, Washington. I love it up there in Evergreen, Grantsville, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. And guess what? For the 20th year, we finish out in Irwindale. Matt Field, he has something to prove this year. Would you agree with me, Ryan?
I think so. He came so close last season, and I think he wants to make it his season this year.
Yeah, I mean, Irwindale was wacky and wild. Speaking of, you can see Fredric Aasbo, who is our defending and 3-time champion. So back-to-back, not in a row like James Dean, who we'll get to in a moment, but he is back as well. But Rome Charpentier, Matt Field, he got it done after getting banged up a little bit between him and Aasbo. But Matt, like I said, wacky, wild, and wet in Irwindale. It was kind of all signs were saying it was going to be his, but unfortunately, it didn't end up that way.
Yeah, he put the car in all the right places here. You could see in competition at Long Beach, and I don't remember where he qualified here, but I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to do well here as well.
Yeah, you can see Matt Field there, the Momo suit, and you know, just change a lot of change for him. You know, Falcon Tire was in the series for 19 years. They pulled out of Formula Drift competition, so he had to change tire manufacturers and making GT Radial proud, put him on top of the box. RCP in second, Fredric Aasbo third, Jonathan Hurst, the pride of Paducah, gets in fourth, and Ryan Tuerck in fifth. Another driver have a lot of expectations. So again, Fredric Aasbo, Matt Field. Do you think there's a rivalry there? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Is it a rivalry, or is it just like, oh, I want to beat him?
Well, there have been some situations between the two of them, right?
Yeah.
We go back to Long Beach the year prior, and that's where Aasbo got into the back of field as he was trying to transition. He ended up destroying his car right there at under the wall, or under the bridge, sorry, on the wall and into the tires. So they have had some situations in the past between the two of them. I've never asked them if there's a rivalry, but if there was one in this series, you'd think those two would have it.
Yeah, it just makes sense given that Long Beach scenario, 23, 22, just back and forth. But overall, again, Matt Field, he has something to prove. Here we are with the RTR team, making sure the Nitto tires are prepped. And that looks like it's at the top of the hill. So changing out some nitrous bottles. That's James Dean's car. So we're talking about all these championships, 3-time championships, all those things considered. James Dean, 3-time, he's back. And he's behind the wheel of another champion's vehicle of Vaughn Gittin Jr. or the RTR team. The captain is back as well. So many things that we can really focus on here.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about where the Formula Drift State of the Union is. Anybody could win.
Yeah, the level of the drivers this year, we've been saying this for a couple of seasons now, you just never know whose game it's going to be coming into an event. We're going to top 32 right now. Every single battle's a question mark. You just don't know what's going to happen. And the drivers that you think are going to do, you know, traditionally have done well, it doesn't mean they're going to do well going forward. There are a lot of amazing top-level drivers in this championship now, and it can go any way whatsoever.
James Dean, he won here in 2017. He got on the podium in 2018-19. He bid adieu, and now he is back. RTR says, Vaughn says, get over here. I got you, bro. So James Dean, Chelsea Denofa, they are campaigning their Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5 FDs the entirety of the season, whereas Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Adam LZ are splitting the season. So you got 4 rounds and 4 rounds. So overall, it's going to be an exciting season, this only being round 2. There's how the top 32 driver, the bracket shapes up. You got Vaughn and Robert Thorne. And look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4. let's walk us through what we saw yesterday in our K&N Filters knockout qualifying. And speaking of those drivers, they're going to be joining me and Larry Chen at the K&N Air Filters little halftime chat at the FD podium. If you're here in the building, come join myself, Larry Chen, and some special guests, including quite a few of those drivers on that grid. So let's take a look at our knockout qualifying top 4. Taking a look back there at Matt Field. Matt Field was not in the top 4. He'd love to be there, but it's all about confidence and getting those points, you know, on kind of getting ahead of the pack, right? If you know, you can't win the actually you can win the championship without winning an event. Chris Forsberg did that in his final year, which is absolutely wild. You know, looking down to this track here, that's what Diego Higa looked back. And I know you have a relationship with Diego. You've been over to Brazil. You've seen him compete. What is Diego Higa's expectations?
Well, his expectations are to do well. He's done well. He's won the championship in Brazil, I think, 5 years running, 5 or 6 years, so maybe even longer than that. So his level of competition there is very high, but of course coming here, he's having to deal with guys like Odi Bakchis right here. This is the 3rd place qualifier, and you can see that Odi is putting his car in all the right places here. Not all the right places. He was a little bit late into the zone and out of zone 2. Outer zone 2 is the most important zone, I think, in this track. It's the hardest one to achieve, and the drivers are going to have to be inch perfect to fill that zone each and every time. So that's Odi Bakchis.
And then Forrest Wang. Forrest Wang is back in Formula Drift. His fans are ravenous. You know, he's the Gittin Laboratory lead scientist, the Yellow Speed Racing S chassis. Always has a really cool car, looking still, but it looks even better going sideways. We'll see how he goes into head-to-head, but he's our number 2 qualifier. Did you expect that?
I never know what to expect, Jared.
Just in general or from Forrest?
In general. What was surprising, though, is Vaughn doing so well in a car that he hasn't driven. He wasn't here all of last season. He didn't compete last round. And we were talking about this yesterday. Maybe it's the fact that Vaughn knows he's not competing for a championship right now. He's here to have fun. He's here to disrupt, and he's here to do well on his own terms. He threw down a heater of a run, ended up in 1st place. I believe it was a 93.33. 93 points. 93.33. Yeah. So it was an incredible run from him. First run of qualifying, lays down a 93.33, and nobody challenged him the rest of the day. So that was his top qualifying run, and it was a very high-level run. He got some pretty good X Factor points on that one.
Yeah, the X Factor, and the judging criteria, if you didn't follow it on Thursday, it was about 90 points, and the X Factor is about 10 points. So as we take a look here at the overall track, it's hot. You know, we saw some rain yesterday. The forecast right now, it's just going to be smoky as we take a look at our ACT Track Conditions Report, brought to you by ACT, celebrating 30 years of clutch performance. Champions choose ACT. You can see 86 degrees, 30% precipitation humidity. But guess what? Lorette Nickel is down there with RCP. What's up, Lorette?
Well, this amazing driver got 2nd in Long Beach, and we are in completely different conditions here at Atlanta and Rome. If you wouldn't mind, you have a temperature gun. How hot is the asphalt right now?
So asphalt right now is 125, 124.
Yeah. So you guys are dealing with a lot. Most drivers do have cool suits, not outside of the car, but if you also wouldn't mind showing the ambient temperature of, inside of the car, please. So Rome's shooting this right now and pointing it at the footwheel.
Down anywhere in the car. I think the coolest spot in the car right now is probably the outside door, and it's 135 on the coolest spot of the car. So top temperature in the car is about 152. The cool side is 135.
Gosh, so you guys are dealing with a lot going on. And this track temperature, too, is really important because you guys are just now practicing for the first time under the sun. What happens when the sun falls?
So when the sun's out, it's super greasy, and the track gets really, really loose, especially inner 1 and outer.
All right, thank you so much, Lorette.
Once the track temp falls or the sun comes off the track, it grips up immediately. We saw about 40 degrees of track temperature change in less than an hour, which is a lot of change for us, and the car grips up immediately.
So you have so much that you're dealing with. So what is the setup that you changed for tonight?
So originally we changed the setup to make it looser for qualifying, which didn't work. We spun out twice, so that was a bad idea. So we're just going to drive through whatever the condition is and hope for the best.
Okay, well, this guy, again, who finished 2nd in Long Beach, hoping for the best here in Atlanta and making a step up. Rome Charpentier, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Laurent Nickel, with our ACT Track Conditions Report, brought to you by ACT. Again, celebrating 30 years of clutch performance. Champions choose ACT. All right, so taking a look at ACT track conditions, let's slide it over to our Tuerck Drift course preview. Ryan Lontaine, if you could walk us through, again, Tuerck Drift, download it today. But what are we looking at here with the digital version of Jonathan Castro?
Yeah, drivers need to get initiated by that one cone. That means 2 move maximum to get the car to the right amount of angle to get through that first corner to inside clip 1. Run up the hill, full throttle. Decel zone is near the end of outside zone 1, right till about there, where the driver should be getting back on throttle as they fill outside zone 2, right out to the edge of the track. We have a box painted there. We want to make sure the drivers are in that box, but all the way to the outside edge of the track, so filling that whole zone in the box. They want to not cut the course as they exit the horseshoe right there. In the video, there's a big, tall, kind of a cone there, an outside zone marker, but in reality, we have a small orange cone just so the drivers know where it is. They need to not run over that corner of the track where the grass is. And then on the way down the hill, they need to maintain momentum. They need to get close to the touch and go. They want to run their front bumper over the rumble strip there, transition the car, get close to inside clip 3, which was inside clip 1 on the way up the hill. So on the way through, they want to finish drivers left all the way through the track with angle. They don't want to straighten up before that finish line.
Yeah, so you kind of want to flow because that could cause an accident too.
Yeah.
So like once you cross that, and also we saw it yesterday with ProSpec, you do have to finish out because there is a finish line if you don't drift all the way through, and we saw that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there was somebody that straightened before the finish.
Yeah,
so.
well, going into the wall. We saw that with Jeff.
There was the wall, yeah.
There was the wall, the rumble strip, and when you go counter course, the rumble strip will eat you up. That will cut you, man. I'm telling you what. So again, pretty exciting stuff here at Road Atlanta, celebrating 20 years. It all began in 2004. That keyhole right there, see that little grass raindrop? We call it the horseshoe, the keyhole. We branded it a few different things. It is where the asphalt meets the red signature clay dirt of Road Atlanta. Let's take a look at, speaking of the keyhole, here's a key. Talking about the keys of success, brought to us by a variety of our few different sponsors as we are getting set. The keys to victory, brought to you by K&N.
All right, so the lead driver needs to run as close to a 100-point qualifying run as possible. That means a quick and accurate initiation. They want to get back on the throttle before inside clip 1. Up that hill to outside zone number 1, on throttle. We don't want to see kind of on-off throttle there. It's got to be full throttle planted all the way up the hill. Fill that zone 1, fill zone 2, get themselves back down the hill. That's for the lead car. The chase driver needs to maintain proximity from start to finish. They need to match the lead car's smoke trail. So that means that the back of the cars are on the same line going through the course so that the rear tires are laying rubber in the same spot, more or less. You know, you want to get in the pocket and then stay close to the run, mimic all the transitions, and let that lead driver know they're there.
Let's keep the party going. Here we go. Our first battle, top 32, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Speaking of Vaughn, Gunnar Gittin is in the building. His best friend Delaney turned 6 today, so she's in the building. She's celebrating Vaughn Gittin Jr. because guess what? Old Captain Clutch Kick is back. Formula Drift, he took a year off, but comes back at it with our #1 qualifier, and he's going against Robert Thorne, a.k.a. the Thorne Dog. Here we go. Vaughn, your big initiation there from that Monster Energy Nitto tire. Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Pulls away from Robert Thorne. Thorne, I was talking to him earlier in the driver's meeting. Vaughn does get into the dirt. He looks a little more brocky than his Ford Mustang. Talking about that Ultra 4 racing that he's been doing with him and his Lauren Healy teammate, RTR. All right, transitioning now back up to the clip. Robert Thorne had such a knockout season in Pro Spec. Do you think it's going to apply here to Pro? I mean, he's going against a 2-time champion, 2010, 2020, and here he comes in. Welcome to Pro. Here's a 2-time champ, Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Yeah, Vaughn gets that car to initiation really nicely, gets by inside clip 1, but Robert Thorne can't hang through turn number 1. You can see he kind of went off course there. Vaughn leaves outside zone 1 a little early, drops a tire as he enters outside zone 2, but gets back online, gets nice and tight on inside clip number 2. Down the hill, Vaughn does a good job of not dropping the tire on the grass, exiting the horseshoe, and has a great line through inside clip number 3 to the finish. You can see there, Thorne was trying to catch up. Vaughn was not trying to get away. Vaughn filled all the zones for the most part, got the car where he needed to be, and did a good job in the lead run. And the chase there, you could see that Robert definitely fell off on initiation and never really caught back up.
He was talking in the driver's meeting, that's what I was trying to get at there during the run, but he says that, you know, obviously with Pro Spec and then going to Pro, he's got more tire, but it just changes going from day to night. But right now, it's obviously clear as day, it's warm, you know, the grip does grip up, so changes throughout the day. Again, a traditional road racer, but now he's looking strong up front. Robert Thorne, Vaughn Jr. slides to the side of him. Look at that. The intergalactic planetary. Look at that. Looks like a BC boy for sure. Gets to the side of Thorne into that second inside clip. Now outside of that keyhole, rips it around, down back the hill, past that touch and go, and there is the last inside clip. I'll tell you what, Vaughn comes back in spades in that Monster Energy Ford Mustang Nitto tire RTR Spec 5D.
You can tell here that Vaughn's got the faster car as he's coming down to initiation behind Robert Thorne. It's almost like he's holding himself back a bit. On initiation, Vaughn is right there with Thorne. See on the transition, Vaughn gets his car positioned nicely coming up the hill. Slight bobble from Vaughn. He's not going fully deep in zone 1, but he's right there on zone 2. You can see him positioned really nicely. Look at the smoke lines. They're matching up perfectly there. Vaughn does drop a tire leading the horseshoe, gets on the rumble strip with Robert Thorne. Coming through the touch and go area, it drops off ever so slightly as they cross the finish line. But look at this car positioning here from Vaughn coming up the hill. Beautiful job here. Just doesn't go quite as deep as Thorne in outside zone number 1, but does a great job in outside zone 2. You can see his positioning. He never let Robert Thorne get out of his sights until right after this downhill section here. Right on the transition through the smoke, I think Vaughn was blinded right there, and he backed off just a little bit for safety's sake, because we did see somebody transition a little late yesterday and end up in that wall. So I think it was a safe move from Vaughn just to keep himself safe.
Did you expect this? Vaughn Jr. gets the win. Again, a year off. Man, there's no rust on that weapon of mass destruction. Not on his car, not in his race suit. I mean, he's looking good. The A-Star suit's looking fresh. His wife and kids are in the building. Got the Conklins. I mean, everybody's cheering him on. It's great to see Vaughn Gittin Jr. back here in a Rockstar Energy Drink, top 32. The fun haver, the professional fun haver. Guess what? Branden Sorensen, 19 years old. Alec Robbins, 31. Taking a look at the stats here, fairly equally matched. A little down in horsepower from Alec Robbins, but we did see Alec Robbins be our #1 qualifier last year. Branden Sorensen, I wouldn't say a lot to prove. I think he's gained a lot of interest. You know, United States Air Force supporting him. You know, he's got other sponsors. He's got his whole team. His sister's currently racing Extreme E. We've seen her at Nitro Rallycross. You know, definitely a busy family. But Alec Robbins, he's dedicated to drifting. He wants it. His wife is here in the building. Minnesota driver. Seen him progress through the years from Pro-Am to Pro 2, and obviously now Pro Spec, and then into now Pro. He's really made a name for himself as well. He started on Ford Mustangs, went back to kind of what he's known, more of import stuff, but obviously with the LS under the hood of his 350Z. I think he's a very talented driver. We know he can get it done.
Yes, this, again, could be anybody's battle right now. This should be really fun to watch. And I ran into the younger Sorensen in the yesterday, and he's probably going to be running in his siblings' footsteps very soon, I imagine.
Yeah, he's doing karting. He's doing a lot of side-by-side. So they're a very talented family from Las Vegas, Nevada. Sorensen will lead as Branden Sorensen qualified 16th. Alec Robbins 17th, fairly equally matched. Branden Sorensen coming into view. Down the hill, Branden. Alec a little bit looser there. You saw he slid past Branden Sorensen. High-flying Sorensen into that second outside zone. Barely gets that front end of that outside zone into inside clip 2. Now transitioning back down the hill. Past that touch and go, and then into inside clip 3. There goes Sorensen and Robbins back up the hill. Sorensen, good execution. Robbins maybe got a little bit lost in the smoke. What are your thoughts there, Ryan?
Well, I'm going to focus a lot on the hesitation that Sorensen had at the top of the hill just before outside zone 2. So as we look at the initiation, you can see that in the chase position there, Robbins had a bit of a hesitation in the lead. Sorensen's doing a great job. At that point, you can see that Robbins fell off a little bit. Right here, it looks like Sorensen was going to go wide after outside zone 1, maybe stayed on throttle a little too long, and his line wasn't perfect going towards outside zone 2, so he had to slow the car down more than he wanted to, and you can see that it hurt his line from the beginning of outside zone 2 to inside clip 2. He got in the box early, but left it immediately, so that's going to be a bit of a detriment to Sorensen's run there, missing outside zone number 2 and having that big hesitation up there. So what does Robbins have to do now? Run a smoother line from zone 1 to zone 2 up here, and that'll give him a huge advantage lead-to-lead comparison.
I mean, you as a judge, is that kind of what you're focusing on? It's so blatantly right in front of you as a judge. Mind you, we're kind of referencing the screen just so the viewer can kind of see what we're talking about if something's off screen, but traditionally they're right there. Is that a place that's really heavily focused on?
Huge, because commitment is key coming up that hill.
Here we go. Alec Robbins out front. Gets it here. You saw a little brown cloud. Now they're going to run up the hill. Let's see if he executes what you're talking about, Ryan. Gets in that first outside zone, into the second outside zone. Boom, he does exactly what you said. Fills about 3/4 of that thing, tightens it up to inside clip 2, now exiting out. Really well done there, Branden Sorensen. You thought he was going to hit the dirt, but it seems like that front left is Alec Robbins. I mean, maybe a spotter did a good job. Maybe he just knew already, or instinctively, he just knew what he needed to get done.
Yeah,
that was really well done by Alec.
He did a good job through outside zone 1 and 2. Let's look at it from the drone. That's going to give us a whole different perspective. What I'm looking at now is it looked like Sorensen had a failure to initiate there originally. It took him a long time to get the car to angle. That's going to be a big problem on him for his chase run. You can see Robbins getting all the way up to zone 2. He didn't have to really work the car up there either. He just let it kind of float up the hill because he had momentum built up through outside zone 1, and he used that to fill that zone 2 area, which is what we want to see. So I think that I'm not able to talk to the judges right now, but I would say that hesitation on initiation is going to hurt Sorensen in the chase-to-chase comparison.
And it bears repeating, Ryan Lontaine, my co-host here, is doing double duty. He is judging, he is announcing alongside Brian Egger and Chris Yule. This year, we have implemented 4 judges, 3 of which are on at the event. The other judge is assisting in the driver's steward duties whenever there's a protest or an issue that needs to be rectified. So again, our 4 judging panel, 3 will be implemented. Robbie Nishida, Brian Egger, Chris Yule, Ryan Lontaine. This particular round, Chris Yule, Brian Egger, and Ryan Lontaine are our 3 judges. Throughout the entirety of the season, Sean Adriano will be, again, the driver's steward, conversing with them if any scenarios shall unfold. All right, Rockstar Energy Top 32, Branden Sorensen, the United States Air Force BMW, does not move on, unfortunately. Alec Robbins gets the win, and I think it came down to that outside zone 2. Ryan, you did a great job elaborating on that. 1 to 2 just did not fill that outside zone 2, and Alec just did a better job.
Yeah, that big hesitation is a problem there because you want to be fluid through there. That's an important part of the track, and you don't want to be hesitating and stalling up like that because he did slow down significantly. Even though it is a decel zone, it's not meant for that type of decel. And you could see that it was an error that he made, and he was trying to correct it there.
Some great fans out here, smart fans with the, they don't have fans, but they got umbrellas to keep themselves cool. Kazuya Taguchi, who has just gained so much notoriety from St. Louis in last year, won in St. Louis, a really cool car, the VR, talking about the 86, the BRZ, the FRS, that chassis, going against Jonathan Hurst. Now, you're gonna want some earplugs here. The pride of Paducah, Kentucky. This vehicle is loud and proud, but speaking about that of Jonathan Hurst and the cash racing weapon, he has one of the loudest vehicles, but he definitely keeps it cool, as his sponsor here is all about keeping it cool in the garage or wherever you got. He has his own dedicated title sponsor here, there, Mr. Cool, the Mr. Cool BMW, gaining a new title sponsor. Laid over that nice carbon Kevlar kit, but right now Kazuya Taguchi, ISR Performance, up garage, GT Radial 86. Ooh, a little correction there. That was an interesting one. Oh boy! All right, this could get hairy.
I think Kazuya Taguchi is DB'd. See that right rear? I think he DB'd it on initiation, and that's what caused that issue. And he's still trying to get through the course.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have a tire.
So Ryan pointed out that Kazuya could have DB'd on initiation, causing the correction, the snapback, and then Jonathan Hurst getting into the side of him, because very uncharacteristic of Kazuya to kind of have that snapback. So let's slow it down. Let's take a look.
It's something that happened yesterday in Prospect too. Yep. Somebody initiated too early, hit the edge of the rumble strip, and tore the tire off the wheel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could hear it. So that is, I believe, what happened there. The tire came off, and he lost traction and the ability to get the car moving forward. So see right there, you saw the tire pop off, and right now he has no tire on the right rear. So right there, you can see it flopping around.
Yeah, you can see it flopping.
Yeah, so that'll be on Kazuya Taguchi in that section for making that error. It's not an error he made it personally, but it's a mechanical issue caused by going off the track on initiation. We tell them they can use the rumble strip, but you don't want to get on the rumble strip until just after it starts, because there's a big divot in the dirt there, and there's a big tall lip where that rumble strip starts. So if you get in there, it'll rip the tire right off the wheel.
And the rules specify that if you DB'd a tire, you can continue on, but it's going to be deemed an incomplete as soon as it's debeaded. Basically, a door, a hood, hatch, or a tire debeads, that's an incomplete. So if you're the lead car, it can stop right there. So Jonathan Hurst is going to have a major, basically, advantage here. But also, what happens now? So basically, Kazuya can get a new tire on, but Hurst could change his tires as well, but he would be at a deficit, or is that done and done?
Well, right now, I think they're analyzing whether or not it's due to, let's say you're out there on the track and you hit the wall and it debeads your tire. Potentially, you're allowed to change your tire because you made contact with the wall and that's what caused it. But if it comes off just by driving on the track normally without making contact with something out there on the course, like the other car or a wall or something like that, in that case, potentially they could say this is it for you, you're done. Because you cannot change a tire that is debeaded due to just driving on the surface of the track. The reason
aggressive.
the reason we've had that law in place, or that rule, in place for a while now, is because we don't want people running 5 PSI in their tires to increase the grip level, which then causes the tire to debead prematurely, or not prematurely, but just for no reason. Yeah, so we're looking at, it just looks like he didn't even get it at the beginning of the rumble strip. He just did it on the rumble strip itself. So we'll see what happens. The technical are looking at the rule book right now to see if Kazuya Taguchi can change his tire or not. It just depends on the interpretation of the rule, the way it is written. So they're going to get that handled while we look at some fans out in the crowd, Jared.
Oh man, sun's out, guns out, bros. Look at these bros right now, man. Shirts off, just cranking. How we doing out there, bros? Doing good, dude? All right, taking a look. Momentum zone, what's going on? Outside zone. So breaking it down for those new fans. You've seen a few runs. What are you as a judge, Ryan Lontaine, Brian Egger, Chris Yule, looking for?
Yeah, momentum zone number 1 there, where the beginning of the course is, that is going to be for the drivers to get the cars to speed for the first corner. They're coming down that hill over 100 miles per hour, and they need to get the car down to, what would you say, Jared, 60 miles an hour, maybe 55, something like that?
Yeah, it rapidly slows down.
Yeah, so that's a decel zone right there, and they need to use it smartly.
All right, so we'll find out what goes on with Kazuya Taguchi, but we'll advance on. But let's go down to Loren Nickel with an update on our current points leader, Matt Field.
Well, as we know, Matt Field qualified 9th, and he battled all day during qualifying and didn't get any good results because he was shredding some belts. The team didn't know what the problem was, but they've made some changes, and now what they fixed.
All right, little technical issue there. Thank you, Lorette. So we'll get some updates there. But Matt Field, so again, having some technical issues, finally dialing in. Is the heat playing a role? I mean, I was talking to Derek Madison. He said the car ran too hot. Yesterday it was cool. Today a lot hotter, but I'd rather take dry, hot conditions than wet and humid conditions that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, the water yesterday on the track was a little bit tricky for the pro spec guys during practice, but thankfully it dried up for their competition. Today, just dealing with sun and heat. So at least it's consistent today. I think the drivers are going to have to keep themselves cool as well as the cars. But I think everything's going to at least continue on fairly consistently throughout the day.
I can't hear anything, though.
Looking there at the RTR pit area as they get their cars ready. What's the next RTR driver up here? Not to the right side of the bracket, maybe.
All right, so
yeah.
That would be opposite. It was yeah. Copy that. Yep. All right, so as we are taking a look, so Kazuya Taguchi, you know what? Let's lay out. Let's figure out what's going on. Get a little check of the temperature. Jared Deenda, Ryan Lontaine. More Formula Drift when we come back. Round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, the title fight, brought to you by Type S, the official lighting of Formula Drift.
GT Radio. Experience ultra-high performance.
For 30 Formula Drift teams, our professional Tire Stacks crew will mount over 1,000 tires during a weekend to keep our drivers on track, competing at the highest level. TireStacks.com, the official tire service of Formula Drift.
We saw Dean Kearney and Matt Field line up in the top 16 in Long Beach. Here we are again in Atlanta. And for Atlanta, Matt Field qualified 9th. He had been battling all day during qualifying. He feels like he didn't get any good results because the belt was shredding. The team didn't know what the problem was, but made some changes, and now the belt is staying for this top 32 battle. What they're blaming is the tensioners. Jared, Ryan?
Some great updates there from Lorette Nickel, our field reporter. Thank you so much, Lorette Nickel. Always a great asset and some great insight on what's going down at the top of the hill or in the hot pits. So thank you so much. Lorette Nickel, rounding out our broadcast team. So we are seeing Jonathan Hurst. So update here, Ryan. What do we dictate here as far as tire debeating? What's going on? What's up?
Well, as I said earlier, they were going to determine whether or not that was that debeating would be allowed to be fixed, and they have determined that it is not because it occurred on track. There was nothing specific that he hit. He was just simply initiating on what we consider the track surface, so he's not allowed to replace that tire, unfortunately. So here is Jonathan Hurst on his bye run.
And this is a great car to lay out and listen to the Mr. Cool Cash Racing BMW. Listen to this thing, pop and bang. Jonathan Hurst makes his way into the top 16. Congratulations, the Royal Purple top 16. Congratulations to, again, Jonathan Hurst. We'll see him up in the mix for top 16. Who's he going to go against? It's either Matt Field or Dean Kearney, which should definitely be a fun one. Congratulations to him. Taking a look at the bracket, you can see Vaughn Jr. moved on, Robbins, Hurst will be yellow, Kazuya will be white in a moment, and then we will see Field and Kearney. Again, Matt Field qualifying 9th, Dean Kearney qualifying 24th. So Matt Field, our current points leader, basically it's called a defender of the potential crown. Last year, it came down to that final battle at Irwindale. It got wet, it got wild, it got wacky, went into the wall, and essentially, I don't want to say lost the championship, but the championship went away, and it eventually was grabbed by Fredric Aasbo. If you haven't seen the Lean Customs pin that they're making, they had an ATL flag waving in Matt Field's hand. So shout out to the boys at Lean Customs. Here we go. So we can see Matt Field already on the line. That Borla exhaust, drift cave, heat wave visuals, Lean Customs on the hood, the GT radials wrapped around those Forged Star wheels. Dean Kearney keeps it clean. HyperNFT.io. Carnage with a K. This should be a fun one. You got the 10, you got the 18 cylinders on track. Let's go ahead and party, boys. Got the American, the Beast from the Bay. If you haven't followed already, the Cave Chronicles, the video series following all the caveman, including that big boat guy, Ripper. Oh man, they're having so much fun on boats and motorcycles and cranking beer. Have you seen the Cave Chronicles yet, Ryan?
I have not, Jared.
Watch them, they're fun.
Maybe I should check it out.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild time. I know you don't drink, but you might want to after that. Matt Field, he's ready to throw down. Here we go. Matt Field, big initiation from him into that first inside. Whoa, Dean Carnage comes out of angle, gets into the kitty litter. Matt Field does continue on. Matt Field continues on into that second outside zone. He does throw some dirt. GT Radio, a little gravel machine gun. Unfortunately, Dean Carnage made that mistake very early on. As long as Matt Field keeps it where the rubber meets the road, which he does, that will be a major advantage for the Beast from the Bay.
Yeah, that was a big mistake from Dean Kearney there. After initiation, it looked like the car understeered. The car went straight, went into the gravel a little bit, but managed to get back on the track. So let's look at what happened. You see Dean pouring on the angle, and right there, the rear grips up, the front does not anymore, so the car washes out. He ends up in the gravel a little bit. In the lead position, though, Matt Field is doing an excellent job of placing his car where he needs to, just a little bit off of that inside clip, but a great job in outside zone number 2. Gets the front bumper hanging over the touch and go area there, and gets relatively close to inside clip 1. But way back, you can see Dean Kearney trying to catch back up, but the damage has already been done for Dean Kearney's chase run. It looks like with that understeer situation there and then going off the track, he will be given an incomplete for that run.
Such an unfortunate turn of events. Dean Kearney just, sometimes these gremlins just pop up for him, but when he's on it. Looking forward to seeing Dean Kearney step up in this lead run. Matt Field, like I said, leads the points championship out of Long Beach. He's thinking about every single run independently. Matt has just transformed just over the years, getting his first victory, many moons ago on the S chassis, committing to the Corvette. I remember in Long Beach, just defeated on its debut, but then coming back, and it just these peaks and valleys. And I love the way Matt Field has just superseded kind of the downfalls and really used them as strength to kind of fight back. And that's what drifting is, man, because like I said, I always reference this one thing of 2-time Formula Drift champion Tanner Faust. He says the most stressed I've ever been in a car, in a motorsports event, is qualifying for Formula Drift. Mind you, then you have to progress and go against these gnarly cars. Now they're 1,000 horsepower on average, door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel. I mean, could you see yourself competing today, Ryan? Just I mean, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Far too old, Jared.
I mean, but I don't think you're too old. I mean, sorry, I'm just going to put it out here. Far too old, but you got to sharpen the knife, man.
Yeah.
You got to sharpen the blade. These guys are driving a lot.
Yep.
You look at Vaughn. He didn't skip a beat. He's driving both off-road, on-road, electric vehicles, a Mach-E 1400. Matt, he's driving events. He's going to, Texas drift events. They're doing, I mean.
That's the key. You got to be driving all the time.
James Dean says he's on a 7-week bender of drifting events right now.
Wow.
7 weekends. So, I mean, he's going to Nürburgring.
Riding
he's
that wave right now, right?
Dude, but that's what these guys are doing, and that's how you sharpen the blade, and that's how you cut down your competition.
Yep. Well, everything has to be second nature. You can't think about anything that you do in these cars. It has to just be natural movement in the car. It has to be so, without thought.
Yeah,
that it just happens.
Not even reactionary.
Not reactionary,
just
no.
Intuitive.
Intuitive, that's the word. It just has to be what you do, without any thought. So it has to be as easy as walking.
Here we go. Dean Kearney. Speaking of walking down the hill, Matt Field initiates. He knows he's got a little bit of an advantage here. And with Dean Carnage washing out on that first run, he might pedal it back, temper the flame, turn it down to about a 7.5 or 8, and there he goes into the dirt. We did see that from Field earlier, but with Dean Kearney going off course earlier, he knows he has that advantage. Oh, big snap there from Carnage. Heads up the hill, puts a little exclamation point on that run, but unfortunately with him having that incomplete on that first run, going off course, getting into the kitty litter, that is not a fresh step, unfortunately, in the kitty litter there. Matt's going to go ahead.
Yeah, you could tell Matt was playing it safe here. He knew he didn't have to push 100%, but he was still within proximity. He was in striking distance. He's right there following the line that Dean Kearney's putting down. Dean does drop a tire at the dirt here, and Matt just sort of lays back and stays in outside zone 2. But you can see that Matt's not letting him getting away. You can see the line that Dean Kearney ran, leaving the heel is exactly what we want to see. He was sort of mid-track there. He gave Matt Field the perfect opportunity to stay online and not drop a tire himself.
Make it official, slide him left for Matt Field in that Corvette, the Borla exhaust. Heat Wave, Lean Customs, GT Radial Corvette, the Beast from the Bay, Matt Field gets the win. Dean Carnage Kearney unfortunately knocked out the Hyper NFT.io Viper. Next up, Diego Higa, who qualified fourth, coming to us from Brazil, making his Formula Drift Pro debut. Taylor Hall, well, guess what? He's your Georgia boy. He's running that Comp Cams red, white, blue livery from Sonoya, Georgia. There's that rumble strip. Now, that rumble strip, you can see it stepped, right? So when you go down the hill, they're kind of ramps. But when you go backwards, you're going against the grain.
Yep. And that's why it was so surprising that Taguchi's tire debeated, because he was going with the rumble strip, the way that is meant to be ran on the road course that is here. So that's why it was so surprising that the tire debeated there. But that is what the rule is intended for. If they're running pressure that's too low, I'm not saying that's what they were doing, but if they were, then that would cause the tire to debeat, and that's what the rule is intended to avoid.
We are finding out that Diego Higa, who I just touted there, qualifying fourth from Brazil, has called a competition timeout. That's an NGK competition timeout. That's a 5-minute allotment once they get their hands on the vehicle, so 5 minutes in order to fix the vehicle. Speaking of NGK, do spark plugs time out? Yeah, they sure do, and timely spark plug replacement not only prevents fouling and provides the best engine performance, it ensures less repair time and can save you money on unnecessary repairs. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn more about OE-suggested spark plug intervals and find the best plug for your engines. NGK, the ignition specialist. If you have not checked out the Aim High trivia provided by the United States Air Force, what is the name of the newest bomber in the U.S. Air Force's fleet? Is it A, the B-1 Lancer? Is it B, the B-21 Raider? C, the B-2 Spirit? Or my favorite, D, the B-52 Stratofortress?
That's a fun name.
I know.
I hope that's what it's called.
If I have a third kid, I'm going to name it Stratofortress. That sounds strong. Stratofortress Dienda.
Strat for short.
Thank you to the United States Air Force. Thank you so much for their support. All right, well, you know, we have a few drivers already in the top 16, one of which is Captain Clutch Kick, and he is with Lorette Nickel now.
Well, thank you guys. From that smile, you can see that our 2020 champion is so happy to be back after taking a year off, getting that #1 qualifying spot in Vaughn. I think what is so incredible is that here at Road Atlanta, this was the first place that you ever pulled your first e-brake.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. You know, when I, 20 years later, right, coming, the first lap last weekend, or, a couple days ago, sitting up there, just so many memories lit me up. That view just triggered so much for me. And the memory of sitting up there 20 years ago, I open trailered my car here from Maryland. I got to the top of that hill, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to clutch kick this, so I got to figure out what this e-brake does. I never did it before. So it's really amazing, to be back. And it just felt good to, last year, step back and just kind of breathe a bit and watch and study and, come out here and just drive my heart out. And it's really cool. It's a very different perspective. I'm not thinking about Irwindale right now. I'm not being as strategic as I normally would be. I'm just in the moment, every run, throwing it out there as hard as I can. It feels incredible, like the vibe, the fans, the love that I'm receiving right now, and on social and just coming back. I'm really grateful. And my goal tonight is to represent for our team, represent for our partners, and represent for all you that are just giving the love.
Well, I can hear some cars in the burnout box, so Vaughn, thank you so much. And he was very sure to make sure that he told me how much and how grateful he was for all the fans and his support coming back to Atlanta. Jared, Brian.
Thank you so much, Lorette Nickel there, as we are seeing Darren Kelly from New Zealand in that Aston Martin going against Ola Jaeger, that Japan Auto Mark IV Super. Let's take a look at it again as we heard the love and the affirmation that Vaughn Gittin Jr. had. We'll run it back once again just to walk us through that run there, Ryan. But at first glance, what do you see?
Well, you can see that seen Kelly in the chase position there is Darren. So Kelly, sorry. Darren is very comfortable in this Aston Martin now. You can see that he's coming into his own in this car as he's putting together a great chase run behind Ula, who's you can see missing outside zone 2 there. He didn't get all the way out to that zone, but Darren Kelly is right there with him. He's watch as really gets close here right before the transition at the finish line. Beautiful job by him with his car positioning, and he's putting together a chase run that we haven't seen from him in Formula Drift. I know he competes at different areas around the world in different championships, but in this car specifically in FD US, he's had some struggles. It's been a challenge developing this car from a road racing car to a drift car, but it seems like they're really figuring it out.
You're talking about Darren Kelly and the Aston Martin, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah. So Darren Kelly from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yes, sir. Darren Kelly out front, the heart of racing, which both does road racing as well as obviously drifting. Darren Kelly, a great ambassador for not only Aston Martin heart of racing, but also New Zealand. So look at that, pulling away. Ula Jaeger, Japan Auto, another Norwegian driver, that Mark IV Super, great looking car. Darren Kelly looking really good, and just such a beautiful exhaust note, right? I mean, you gotta love an exotic out here on track, and now brings around that final clip. Ula Jaeger didn't look 100%, both on that lead run and in that chase run, and I think that allowed Darren to really have and show that he has the proximity, he has the driving prowess, could have that control. Let's run it back and let's look at it again.
Yeah, listening to that V12 scream is really nice. I think you can rev Thorne. It probably should. It sounds like he's bouncing off the rev limiter, but car looking great here as it gets the car initiated. Ula's got a couple of car lengths between him and Darren, and he needs to close that up. You can see him taking the touch and go marker with him. Darren goes a lot deeper in outside zone number 2 than Ula did on his chase, and right here you can see Darren just pulling away from Ula. Not cheating too much. You can see he missed outside or the touch and go there a little bit, so he should have been a little bit tighter there. But Darren's on throttle. He's not, having any issues with commitment. He's not cheating the line too much there. It was just a little bit of an error on the touch and go area.
The heart of racing, Aston Martin lives to see another day. Darren Kelly advances on a 16. Ula Jaeger unfortunately is knocked out in that Japan Auto Mark IV Supra from Norway. So Darren Kelly advances on. That Pedal Commander burnout box currently empty. We'll throw a couple cars in there, a little track cleanup. Diego Higa, Taylor Hole. Diego Higa called that competition time out in that Higa Racing 86 that was previously campaigned. If you actually look on the valve covers, it's got Tuerck on the actual valve covers because that was his previously campaigned vehicle of Ryan Tuerck. So Diego Higa, who qualified 4th, will lead a great qualifying position, a very proven car. Now at the helm is Diego Higa, this Brazilian driver. Taylor Hole, the Comp Cams Yellow Speed Racing Corvette from right here, Sonoya, Georgia. Also, just an FYI, Type S is selling a bunch of products here on site, special Formula Drift pricing. Of course, you can go to typesauto.com, pick up the signature Larry Chen Light. If your phone's going dead, guess what? Type S has a solution for you. We have the Formula Drift, again, Larry Chen Light and Power Bank. We have the Underglow kits. We got the Jump Starter with a built-in USB-C cable and LCD display. Special Formula Drift pricing brought to you by Type S, the official lighting of Formula Drift, both on site here, special pricing, and then, of course, if we don't have it here, you can always go to typesauto.com and your local AutoZone. This is the title fight presented by Type S and AutoZone. So thank you for their support. And Diego Higa pulls to the line. He will lead. Taylor Hole will give chase. Diego Higa, Ryan, we've seen him in Hyperdrive, the Netflix show. You've spent some time with him and his family and team over in Brazil. What's some other points of interest for Diego Higa? What's he normally compete in?
Well, he usually drives a 350Z. That's what their shop is famous for, building and maintaining Nissan. So 350Z is his vehicle of choice. But this was a big jump, I think, for him to such a high horsepower car.
Here we go. Diego Higa will lead. Taylor Hole giving chase. I mean, come on. He's practically wearing a cowboy hat in the cockpit of that Corvette. Diego Higa initiates into that first inside clip. Let's see how Higa handles it. Taylor Hole needs to gain some ground here. Higa, he gets very disrupted by going off course. Higa goes in that second outside zone. Taylor Hole does gain some ground with his Kenda tires, ripping up into that second. And Diego Higa shuts it down. That's going to be an incomplete. You see his hand go out the window.
Yeah, that will be a massive incomplete there for Diego Higa. A big advantage for the Corvette.
I'd be surprised if that car came back out on track, Jared.
Yeah.
You could tell coming down the hill it didn't have the power that it's supposed to, and that's probably why they called their competition timeout earlier. I imagine the car was having some kind of issue that they tried to fix, and it looks like they did not fix it. The car's having some issues making power, it looks like. He barely got around this first inside clip, and then coming up the hill you can see the car straighten up quite a bit, and I think it's definitely having a mechanical issue that they haven't quite fixed. So he doesn't have a competition timeout left, unfortunately. That car may be what holds him back from competing any longer here in round 2.
Yeah, I'm looking over at his spotters over here in the spotters tower. They're shaking their heads, frustration. They're wearing it, they're not wearing it well, and you could just see the frustration both with the car on the track and their spotters over here. So unfortunately, with the competition time out called, and then insult to injury, it not being 100%. So unfortunately, looks like Diego Higa, he's just gonna rip around.
That was a restart, Jared. I don't know, something with Taylor Hall, because Taylor Hall's the one that controls the restart in this situation, being the lead driver. The chase can leave early if they want to. So I don't know what occurred there. Maybe he didn't even leave the line, so potentially it was because he did not leave when the light went off when he was supposed to. Typically the restarts can be because he jumped the light, parked on the light, or hit a cone. And if he didn't leave the line at all, it tells me that he didn't leave the line when he was supposed to.
All right, so interesting there for Taylor Hall and Diego Higa. Taylor Hall has a major advantage here, that Comp Cam's Corvette. So Diego, oh, he's leaving just way early. Taylor's like, whoa, that's way early. But that's yeah, I think Diego's just gonna go through the course. Maybe shake things down and see what's going on. Hopefully, just not 100% on power. All right, so Taylor Hall, as long as he completes the course. Taylor Hall in the Comp Cams Corvette gets the win. Your Georgia boy advances on into the top 16. Congratulations to the Comp Cams Kenda Tire Corvettes. The whole family advances on into the top 16. Taking a look at the pits. Again, congratulations. Look at Darren Kelly, the Harder Racing team. They are in the mix. They are going to be going against, Darren Kelly will be going against Taylor Hall. Man, the easy ups are out. The umbrellas are out. It's a sunny, beautiful day. Seeing some Georgia Bulldog flags out there. Seeing a ton of fans. Again, a lot of pre-sold tickets. Tonight, it's going to be electric. Ryan Tuerck and Kristaps Bluss. How awesome is this? Ryan Tuerck, been competing since, not day one, like day 2, basically. He came to Chicago many moons ago in 2004. Kristaps Bluss, we haven't seen him in 5 years. It's been 5 years.
That long?
Yeah, since we haven't seen the Latvian driver, HGK, BMW. Absolutely love what the HGK boys are doing. So making his way over here from Latvia, always an exciting driver. One of my most memorable moments of here at Atlanta includes Kristaps Bluss. This is how the top 16 bracket is shaping up. Vaughn Gittin Jr. versus Robbins, Jonathan Hurst versus Matt Field, Taylor Hall versus Darren Kelly. So we are not even halfway through our top 32. The Rockstar Energy Drink top 32, but the Royal Purple top 16. And I will tell you, my son was down in the pits. You know, he's working down there at Rockstar Energy Drink, and he's giving me updates on Ryan Tuerck. They pulled the engine in that during, when the first battle of top 32 was going.
What?
They pulled the engine and replaced it.
And here he is on the line.
And here he is on the line. So, I mean, let's do the math. It's currently 4:30. We started at what, at 3:30?
Yeah.
So in an hour, they pulled the engine, replaced it, and here he is on the line.
That's incredible.
That's amazing. Absolutely excited to see that, and that's kind of just the level of some of these teams here getting it done. So Ryan Tuerck, he will be leading qualified 5th. Kristaps Bluss had to go to his Q2 run in that HGK GT Radio vehicle. Ryan Tuerck, Rain-X, Toyota GR Corolla, banging doors in the Rockstar Pilot on some Ditto tires. But Ryan Tuerck continues on in that Toyota GR Corolla, gets that second outside zone, gets into the dirt. Kristaps Bluss
getting aggressive. Ryan Tuerck counters back outside of the keyhole. Wow, Kristaps making his presence felt after 5 years of absence. I'll tell you what, that was not that. I mean, Ryan went off in that second outside zone, but for him to kind of hold tough and hang tough like New Kids on the Block, that was pretty solid of Ryan Tuerck.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty good hit at inside clip number 1. Let's look at it from the drone to see exactly how hard it was. So right there, he gets bumped, but Tuerck stays in it, comes up the hill on throttle. You can see in the chase position there, right here, Tuerck goes a little bit long before outside zone 2, drops a tire. Kristaps is right there to take advantage of it. He's not giving Ryan an inch. They both drop a tire coming out of the keyhole onto the downhill area. You can see Kristaps putting on so much pressure. We knew this is what it was going to be from Kristaps. Right here's the bump. So you can see right there the bump, and then Tuerck has a very slight bobble. He controlled it very well. You can see a big mark in his driver's door from Kristaps. And then right here, Tuerck goes a little bit long, leaves outside zone 1 early, goes real deep in outside zone 2. Kristaps gives him another bump before inside clip number 2. And Kristaps keeps just knocking on his door. And I think part of Kristaps, his plan here, maybe his strategy, is to disrupt Tuerck a little bit. Hey, I'm here. Hey, hey, look, don't worry, I'm right here. I'm not letting you go.
Mom, what? Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, look at that. So there we talked earlier about Kazuya Taguchi, hitting that rumble strip. You saw Ryan get into it. The middle tires held on. So Ryan.
Yeah, so this is a contact situation where no incomplete was given to either driver, so both drivers are going to be going back to look at their cars. That is a strategy,
But
coming
look,
in there
Ryan
and bumping.
Tuerck, is he calling a comp timeout?
No, he doesn't have to call a competition timeout during this situation. It's a contact that doesn't result in an incomplete, where the drivers are, you know what, we're just going to give you some time to look at your car real quick.
Cool.
Make sure it's straight, make sure nothing's bent, and you'll both get back on track.
Yep, no discerning fault and no competition timeout being utilized. So while these guys are checking out their car, let's throw it down to Lorette Nickel.
Thanks, Jared. I just wanted to get a word. Diego, I'm so sorry you qualified 4th. It was your highest ever. And as we're looking under the hood, it seems like you're having turbo issues. Is that the problem?
Yeah. Turbo broke it. Impossible driving this car. No, usually the turbo. I need the power. The car no has a power. This situation. Shit happened.
I'm so sorry. You can see the emotion is so hard to deal with right now. And what do you and the team do at this point moving into round 3?
Well, let's go fix it, the turbo, and practice. Let's go to Orlando.
Diego, thank you very much for your time.
Well, you can see a very emotional Diego Higa there. His English has come a long way since I first met him about 8 years ago. But you could tell that he was very emotional there, trying to control it. He's, I'm sure, a little bit nervous talking on camera as well. But you can see the turbo is toast. And he was saying there that you just can't drive that car without a turbo. You need the turbo.
Need it.
Doesn't make much power without it.
No, and
basically have an NA inline 6.
Well, we saw this yesterday with Jaden, right? Jaden's like, all right, caught fire. Let's pull that nitrous bottle. 450, not in pro.
Right.
That's you can't bring a paper cut to a knife fight. Like, ow, that really hurt. Why would you do that? You need to bring all the weapons to these gunfights. All right, so as we are going to see the second half of Tuerck and Bluss. We're going to advance on, so we'll digress to them in a moment. But right now, it is Mike Power and Daniel Stukey. Got an S chassis battle here. Mike Power will lead at Type S S15. Daniel Stukey qualifying 21st, the M-Spec S chassis. Let's see what we got here. Two definitely fun, aggressive drivers. This should be a really fun one to watch if they show up like I know they can. Let's see what we got. Mike Power initiates. Daniel Stukey, a little handbrake pull there from Power. He powers out into that inside clip, punting out of the way. Stukey, look at that. Just the grappling hook on the side of Mike Power. A little bit shallower on that outside zone 2, but now dives in. Into inside clip 2, and they're going to bring it down. The Vitor tires getting on the box at their first round of competition courtesy of Rome Charpentier, second place in Long Beach. Welcome Tour to the Formula Drift Championship as Ryan Tuerck sits in his cockpit, finds out who he might be going against, one of these gentlemen, or again, still could be Kristaps Bluss, TBD.
All right, as we watch the replay, this is a fun run to watch. The drivers look pretty evenly matched. You can see a little bit of hesitation and chase by Mike Power there on initiation, a bit of a bobble. But coming up the hill, he does a good job of staying with Mike Power. And right here through zone 2, like you said, Jared, he was not quite on the line that we'd like. He wasn't as deep as Power was, but watch Stukey here in the chase during the transition. Pretty good placement, but fell off. It was not as close as you'd like to see him through the second half of that track. The first half was pretty solid. Stukey was putting on some pressure, but I'd like to see more in this situation now that Power's going into the chase position. Power can put on a lot more pressure. It's going to give him an advantage to chase. And in the lead, Stukey's got to just stick it to every single zone. He's got to get up high and outside zone 2 and put together a really solid lead lap.
Ryan laid it out. Again, Ryan Lontaine, one of 3 judges here, alongside Brian Egger and Chris Yule. Stukey initiates. Look at Mike Power with even deeper aggressive angle. Is that the right approach? See, look at that. See, he threw so much angle at it, he kind of lost some ground. So Daniel Stukey fills all that second outside zone. Mike Power has to forego that, but now watch. He's going to try to come back here. The M-Spec Performance S chassis out front. Mike Power, very aggressive driving there. Liked how he initiated, but was that too much? That's kind of where, again, you need to lie into, again, chasing. You might have a great chase run, but if it doesn't equate to adhering to what the judges are looking for, it's not going to work out and pay off in dividends.
Yeah, you really need to mimic what the lead driver's doing. The only way you can really do more than what the lead driver's doing is if you have a lot of proximity and you have the ability to stay with that lead driver while doing it. Throwing more angle in the chase position is just going to hurt you. You're not going to be able to maintain that proximity. And in this case, you could see in the chase position there that Power may not have had the proximity that you'd like to see from start to finish. There may have been oh, we're going to do a BC Racing side-by-side, Jared. This is exciting. So as we watch them come down the hill and get the cars initiated, the important thing to look at is proximity and the duration of proximity from start to finish. And on the left side, I believe we have Power leading. On the right side, we have Stukey leading. And it's pretty evident on the first lap, on the left side there, the first battle, Stukey in the chase is doing a better job in the chase position through the keyhole in the first part of the track. And you can see on the right side there, Power in the chase position was not as close, wasn't really putting the pressure on. And here's the second run on its own. In the chase position there, you've got Mike Power trying to put that pressure on, but never really gets to the point where he's putting on enough pressure that we'd like to see here. And you can see in the lead there, Stukey does an awesome job. Well, he gets kind of halfway through outside zone 2, but then fills the second half of it. And does a pretty good job of leading the horseshoe. We like that mid-line exiting there. It gives the chase car a really good opportunity to get close. And in this position, I think maybe Mike Power's a little bit too far behind in that chase roll.
Good elaboration there on both runs, and obviously that second run there. Mike Power in that Type S S15. Daniel Stukey in his M-Spec S chassis. Slide him left for Power, right for Stukey, and Daniel Stukey gets the victory unanimously. Stukey, so unfortunately, I mean, was that kind of the big selling point for you in your mind? I know you're kind of talking through it, but Mike Power just too aggressive. And would you say he even had a little bit of advantage after that first run? Or a kind of even keel?
I'd say the chase run from Stukey was really strong on the first run, and Power did miss a couple of important points on the track that you then give the next driver going into the next run of the battle the opportunity to better what you've done. So you want to be as clean as possible on that first run.
Back to the top of the hill. We'll go back to Tuerck and Kristaps. I'm finding out that their cars are okay. A little bit of damage here and there, but right now it's Forrest Wang and Kyle Mohan. Forrest Wang is back in Formula Drift. Excited to see him back in the mix. And again, a fierce qualifying run yesterday, put him in second overall. Kyle Mohan qualifying 31st. Let's see how, again, the rotary versus that 2JS chassis. Great looking car. A lot of green on track. The grass in the cars and green all over. Forrest Wang zips past that inside clip. Look how settled that car is, man. Really good. I mean, you barely saw any chrome. The tire tread was pointed right out. Oh, buddy! Kyle Mohan nosing in.
Wow, Kyle Mohan got ahead of Forrest Wang there and really started bumping that front right corner of Forrest's car, not really giving him an opportunity to get into that inside clip. So we do want to see proximity, and I was really excited to see Mohan putting on one of the chase drives one of the best chase drives I've seen from him in terms of proximity, but he got a little too aggressive and he got ahead of Forrest Wang and unfortunately took the line away from Forrest and kind of bumped that front right wheel. And in that situation, you can't fault, a lead driver being bumped into like that for spinning. You're blocking that front right wheel, kind of locking it up there and making it really hard for the car to keep going.
Like you said, it's about proximity, but you have to mirror the angle. That's where I think a little frustration lies for me, where Kyle, okay, you're right there, but your angle, you're like a V. You're like the flying V. You're not the Mighty Ducks right now.
Yeah.
Watch this. So bing, bong, boom, like, and yeah, when he goes to counter, the tires hit. That's going to throw you off. Your wheel's going to get ripped out of your hand.
Yeah, and the thing is, when your inside front wheel like that gets locked up by getting touched by the other car, it just causes the car to pivot, to rotate, and around that tire because that tire's slowing down. So you can see multiple hits there, and that the second or third time he gets hit, it just is too much for the chassis to handle in terms of rotational force, and the car over-rotates there. And that spin will be blamed on Kyle Mohan for getting too aggressive in that situation and making multiple contacts with Forrest Wang's car. So I see Forrest Wang going straight back. I presume he's going back to take a look at his car. Yeah, Mohan's at fault.
Yeah.
So in this situation, Mohan would have to call a competition timeout to check his car. But in this situation, because Forrest was not at fault, he gets to look at his car and make sure, yeah, Mohan's at fault. And then Wang gets to look at his car without incurring a competition timeout. So this will not be on him to use that, but he does get time to look at his car and make sure that everything's fine. Mohan's considered at fault in this situation. Mohan looks like he's staying back. He's not going to call his comp timeout because he doesn't believe that there's any damage to his car, so he doesn't feel like he needs to do that.
All right, so as the 808 vehicle, big angle there, Forrest Wang, just going through the course, always got good style. Did he have the speed right there? Regardless, Kyle Mohan was at fault. He just dove in, dove in at that front wheel. So, all right, when we come back, we'll continue here. Round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, the title fight. Ding, ding. That's right. Road Atlanta, 20 years of Formula Drift. It all kicked off in 2004. That's right, it says Gittin on the helmet. BC, shout out to my boy Brian Crowder. When we come back, we'll see if we can feel that NRG from Forrest Wang and Kyle Mohan. Or we're going to see Tuerck and Kristaps when we come back.
Made in Japan. Breed. Passionate about a life in racing? Circle track, drag racing, drifting, or Monster Jam. Find it all at the University of Northwestern Ohio.
If you want to get everything you need to know about Monster Jam, about motorsports, you got to go to UNOH.
It's been the best opportunity I've ever taken. I've gotten so many opportunities, so many different connections.
You build every basic skill that you need to be able to work in racing and get your foot in the door.
See where your future can take you with a high-performance motorsports degree from the University of Northwestern Ohio.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift, the synthetic expert. Rockstar Energy, the official energy drink of Formula Drift.
We are at the hot pits and with Forrest Wang right now, the team and Forrest, but I grabbed him for a second, working on the front right. What seems to be the problem after contact with Kyle Mohan?
The front right tie rod bent. It's pretty common once you go wheel to wheel with somebody. Our two tires touched in the opposite directions because mine was going forward and his was coming down on mine. And then, yeah, I just kind of locked up my steering, ended up jamming my elbow into the seat, so I'm kind of a little shook up from that, but you know, hopefully we can get this sorted out and get back out there and finish this second run.
Yeah, and you grabbed your elbow. Are you hurt right now?
It's sore. It's definitely tender. It got jammed down into the seat, but you know, I'll be all right.
Okay, Forrest, thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
All right, taking a look. Looks like we are going back to Kristaps, Bluss, and Ryan Tuerck. So this is the second half of this battle. Now, if we can digress, refresh, reset. What transpired on that first run, Ryan?
A very aggressive Kristaps Bluss, and it's what we expect from him. It's been his style since day one in Formula Drift, and when he drives overseas as well. I think it's his signature, really. And I'm curious to see how Tuerck will respond to that now that he's in the chase. Kristaps bumped him at initiation a few times and caused them to go check their cars out. So here we go with run two.
Kristaps Bluss, HGK, Eurofighter, BMW, GT Radial tires. Now past that inside clip, let's see how they transition in. And like you said, will Ryan Tuerck retaliate or will he kill him with kindness? Oh, look at that. You see him go in on the inside. Don't know if there's contact there. Want to run that back. Looks like he might have gotten aggressive and then has to back off. This is a big shock to Ryan Tuerck's system here. I got to tell you, I don't think that Kristaps did anything to warrant for Ryan Tuerck to stop. I think, unfortunately, Ryan got aggressive, maybe had to back up. Was there contact? Did you see contact on initial take?
I didn't see contact. I think what happened is Tuerck went in real deep, trying to get close to Kristaps coming up the hill, and he had to decelerate, let's say, and it kind of caused him to pause there. So let's look at it from the drone. As he gets the car to angle, Tuerck is a couple of car lengths behind Kristaps there, but watch what happens to Tuerck as he comes up the hill. Kristaps,
snap.
Yeah. I'll have to look and see if Kristaps was smooth there, but I think he was. It just looked like Tuerck came up very aggressively and had to really slow down to avoid hitting Kristaps, and by doing that, he really stalled up. And it looked like Tuerck actually went 3 wheels off coming out of the horseshoe, and that's very unfortunate for Tuerck there, as that, if it is the case, will be an incomplete. And it looks like you can see there from that high-speed drone that Kristaps did a great job in outside zone number 2, really got the car positioned nicely. It just looked like Tuerck was too aggressive coming up the hill and slowed down too late, too much.
Man, just an unfortunate situation for Ryan Tuerck, but you know, stoked right now, Kristaps Bluss maybe getting in his head, you know, kind of living rent-free, both on the side of his car. Well, that's not rent-free, that comes with some body panels. But the Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla Nitto tires, the Rockstar Pilot, that is Ryan Tuerck. What's the 4-in-1? Well, we're about to find out, and I think it's going to be that of Kristaps Bluss advancing. Car number 80 is back on U.S. soil. Kristaps Bluss gets the win. The HGK Pilot gets the win over, always a crowd favorite, Ryan Tuerck, and unfortunately knocked out in 32. That is a big shock to the system there for Ryan Tuerck. A lot of anticipation for Ryan Tuerck and this being his kind of season. But I mean, again, going back to how we opened the show, it could be anybody that can win Formula Drift round, championship, and just overall collectively. Unfortunately, I think that's going to weigh heavy on Ryan Tuerck's heart and mind.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, you know, when we saw what Tuerck put together in Long Beach, it was very accurate, it was fast, it was committed, and it was without hesitation. And he did everything so beautifully, got that #1 qualifying spot. You come to this round, and this is Kristaps' first round this season.
In 5 years.
In 5 years. But this season he comes in and he's like, I'm going up against the #1 qualifier from Long Beach. He did pretty well here. Where did he qualify today? Qualified in 5th, so pretty high qualifier. Kristaps is looking at that thinking, what am I going to do to get into his head? How am I going to get to make him make a mistake and rattle him? And that it worked. If that was his tactic, it definitely worked for him.
Well, next up, Chris Forsberg, Jonathan Castro. Chris Forsberg, 3-time champion. Jonathan Castro from Dominican Republic, looking for a win, looking to get on the box for his Toyota GR86. Chris Forsberg, NOS Energy Drink, Nissan all-new Z on GT radials. Looking good in his new OMP suit. And Jonathan Castro, you can see, as pulls to the line. Chris Forsberg and Castro. And Castro in that LTH Mobile One Toyota GR86. Forsberg will lead, out qualifying Castro. And let's see how they run. Chris Forsberg, one of the OGs, been out here since 2004, has always campaigned a Nissan since day one. Nissan power plant and Nissan chassis. Now coming past that inside clip, Chris Forsberg says the car's feeling good, that VR power that's got the GTR engine. Oh, and Castro, looks like he slides off, he slides to the side. That's gonna be an incomplete for Castro. And Forsberg completes on, and that will be a major advantage. Whoa, almost overshoots it there. Almost goes off into the dirt, but Castro understeers, goes off course.
You have to wonder if there's a mechanical issue since he's not moving yet. That's sort of what it seems like right now. As he was coming up the hill, it looked like car turned off or something happened to his car where he wasn't able to continue on. The car just came to a halt. So let's look at the initiation. Chris, huge angle there by inside clip 1. Castro did not have a huge amount of angle through there. As they come up the hill, right here, Castro, the car just gives up, comes to a stop, and doesn't move. Forsberg, on the other hand, is continuing on through the course, does a great job of exiting the keyhole there, bumper over the rumble strip at the touch and go, which is exactly what we want to see. Gets the car out wide to the rumble strip and crosses the finish line. And we're going to send it down to Lorette Nickel now. Not sure who she's talking to, but she's down in the pit. Oh, she's talking to Kristaps Bluss. This would be an interesting conversation.
Well,
Lorette?
Of course I had to grab Kristaps, and so glad that he's back. The last time we saw him was in 2018, where he took that win. He steps back in and he beats a Titan in Ryan Tuerck. Kristaps, you must be wanting to make a statement here.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad to be back, excited to be the part of the 20th season. Thanks Formula D for this opportunity, giving me a license to be in a field with the best in the world. And yeah, top 32. I did a bad qualification, top 32 against Ryan Tuerck. Well, he's in Steph's team now, driving the same car as Aasbo did back in 2018. So I did finish here battling the same car, and now the first battle with the same car. So we knew exactly what to do, and it worked out. So I just have to be aggressive as I can be. It definitely was the sort of luck for me, but it did work out, and it's glad. Yeah. By the way, yeah, the car is exactly the same, so we know it works perfectly here. The setup hasn't changed. Just bring it on.
Okay. He is bringing that heat, and he said even though he hasn't had any seat time since October, he is ready to run.
Insight there from Kristaps, Bluss, some great, and just always love that. Great personality, great insight there, Lorette. But just also FYI, while Lorette was talking to Kristaps, Jonathan Castro had 2 false starts. So he's stalling on the start.
Yeah.
Major car issues.
Well, this points to there actually being a mechanical issue earlier, like we talked about.
That's a
you know, the way he exited the track at the top of the horseshoe there. Clearly there's a mechanical problem with the car, and he's not able to drive it. So he is going to withdraw from competition, and Chris Forsberg is going to complete his bye run now.
All right, so again, some great insight there. You saw the cameras being pulled off. That means Castro is retired. The signature throat chop there, unfortunately, for Jonathan Castro. He is out, but let's listen to this VR Power NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z on GT Radials. All right, so Chris Forsberg will advance on into the top 16. He'll be going against either Forrest Wang or Kyle Mohan in the top 16. We are more than halfway through our top 32, the Rockstar Energy Drink top 32, who's advancing on to the Royal Purple top 16. This is how our grid is shaping up. Vaughn, Gittin Jr., Alec, Robbins, Hurst and Field, Hull versus Kelly, Bluss, HGK BMW versus Daniel Stukey. And Chris Forsberg, like I said, versus Wang or Mohan. A few more battles left here in 32. Remember, we have that halftime break. And join myself and Larry Chen and some special guests. Drivers will be joining us. I hope Vaughn I think it's Vaughn going to join us over there. Forsberg, a few other drivers will be joining us over at the Formula Drift podium. So if you're here in the building, right here at the top of the hill, right behind the judges stand, as you make your way down, myself and Larry Chen are going to have some special guests. I'm going to talk to Larry. We're going to talk to some drivers. So come join us over there. And you can see the frustration there from Jonathan Castro. Yeah, you can see it. So don't know if the Dominican Republic driver wants to wrap out as LTH Mobile 1 Toyota GR86. We'll see if we can get some words, find some time to wrap out with him, talking to Lorette Nickel. We go to the second half of this battle. You can see Forrest Wang warming up his tires, Kyle Mohan on the start line. And if you can remember the accident that happened earlier, or just Kyle Mohan diving in, it wasn't terribly bad, but unfortunately he just dove in. So as second half of this battle, still got Aasbo coming up next, Rome Charpentier, James Dean and his Ford Mustang, Trenton Beecham in his new BMW, Odie Bakshi's S15, Nick Novak in a brand new Jerry Yang built BMW, Chelsea Denofa in his Ford Mustang, Travis Reeder, Dylan Hughes, all those guys. Or actually Reeder and Denofa go against them, then Hughes and Gushi. Jones and Simon Olsen in his brand new Bakshi's prepared S chassis. But right now, it's Wang and Mohan, 808 versus the 99. Wang will be chasing down the Mazda Tricks Renewable Lubricants RX8. Yellow Speed Racing NRG. Gittin Laboratory S15. And here comes the lone rotary up the hill. Looking strong. Forrest Wang back there quite a bit. Needs to gain some ground. He did have, that contact. I'm talking about Kyle Mohan against Wang, but Wang really needs to kind of step up here and get that proximity. I wouldn't call that an inactive chase by any means, but you could see again going against Mohan, there was quite a deficit there. As you could see, was that tempered? Was that strategy? Or was there just not enough juice?
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was there, but you'd prefer to see him closer. You can see at initiation, he was sort of close, but then he fell back quite a bit coming up the hill. A little bit of compression here as they come up to outside zone 2. Wang does get a little bit closer to Mohan here, and then on the way down the hill, he does have slightly better proximity. And like you said, Jared, it is not what the heck's it called, Jared? Inactive chase. Jeez, can't think of words today. So Forrest Wang will get the win based on the prior incomplete from Kyle Mohan. pretty hard to overcome that.
Well, the Gittin Laboratory driver, Yellow Speed Racing Energy, Force Wang gets the win. Unfortunately, Kyle Mohan knocked out. Laurent Nickel is with Dominican Republic driver Jonathan Castro.
We saw this gentleman here at the start line with 2 false starts, so I wanted to get your insight on what was happening in the car.
Well, first of all, we were chasing Chris. We got a good pace. As soon as he initiates, the car shuts down. Turn on the car back on, keep drifting with him, and then coming into the keyhole, the car just shuts down again. And just till the guy something's going on, nothing much could do. I feel that was the clutch. There's nothing much could do. And then when our chasing, we were trying to, when I was supposed to lead, I couldn't leave the line. Every time I put a gear, car shuts down. I'd even tried to put the gear to go, and it didn't work. So sadly, we couldn't put a fight with Chris. I was looking forward with him. Great guy, great driving. I was looking to put a show for the fans that are watching. And it's gonna be a good day either way. Feeling good. Looking forward for Orlando.
Jonathan, thank you so much. He thinks that he had a clutch problem in Irwindale as well. So great attitude and having a good time despite the results, guys.
Fredric Aasbo controlled chaos. Guess what? Well, he's about to control, or is he? Because think about this. Here's your 2 and 3 from Long Beach. Fredric Aasbo finishes 3rd in Long Beach. Rome Charpentier, Rome Charpentier. Gosh, easy for me to say RCP. We'll just leave it at that. Rome Charpentier, but you like to say Charpentier. I just call it Rome.
Yeah, Rome's the easier way to say that for sure, and I think we get in less disagreements if we just say Rome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fredric Aasbo will get the lead run here. He qualified high. RCP, the Garagistic BMW. Let's see this Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Supra on Nitto Tires. Big initiation there for Fredric Aasbo. He is your back-to-back and 3-time champion. He's your defending champion coming in that first outside zone. But Rome, right there, and look at that, he is definitely part of the conversation, mimicking the angle. That was proper execution. Aasbo finds a little bit more grip coming back down that hill. Maybe Rome gives a little bit too much breathing room in order to create that gap in between Aasbo and Charpentier.
You know, Aasbo did leave a little on the table there. We didn't see him fill outside zone 2, and this has been a very technical part of the track that's been difficult to achieve for the Pro Spec drivers, and it's proving to be difficult for a lot of the pros as well to really get up to outside zone number 2 and fill it. You can see here that Aasbo is coming up the hill with pretty good steam, but right here slows down maybe a little too much, doesn't really fill outside zone 2. Rome is right there with him through the keyhole, and as they both leave, they drop a tire each. Coming over the rumble strip there at the touch and go, and through inside clip 1 is where Rome fell off. Now as they come up the hill, you can see here exactly what I was talking about. So Rome's really good on angle and proximity through here, but Aasbo did not do a great job on outside zone 1. That's going to give Rome a big opportunity right now to really excel in that area. If he can get himself positioned so that he can fill outside zone number 1, he will give himself a big advantage in that area.
Rome, you know, just the way he's progressed over the years has been fantastic. You know, just I would say, you know, just leveling up, more seat time. Him and his team, they're having a lot of fun. He's always got a smile on his face. His mom, his dad, they're showing up. His wife, like, just always part of the conversation. And he's really gained a lot of ground over the years. And obviously proof of that is he's currently 2nd in points. RCP, Garagistic BMW E36 coming down the hill. But he is going against our 3-time and defending back-to-back Formula 2 champion, Fredric, the Norwegian Hammer Aasbo. The hammer being dropped, lifting up to that 2nd outside zone. RCP, now watch this. This is where the veterans really shine here. The way they manage that distance and allow them to pass, but then gain that ground. Going from that keyhole down into that final clip, you'll see the veterans time that and pace that perfectly to slide right next to him. It wasn't exactly, didn't kind of prove my point there, but it was closer than you saw RCP getting to Aasbo. Would you agree?
Definitely, yeah. And this outside zone 2 area is proving difficult for so many drivers. You can see Aasbo just tapping that touch and go cone on the way up the hill, but look, Rome doesn't get in the box at all in outside zone 2. So Aasbo is going to have an advantage there, lead to lead. They both drop a tire, leaving the keyhole area. As they transition, I think Aasbo maybe tapped that inside clip 3 marker as well on the way back down.
Just an FYI, the fans are saying 60-40, so it is, you know, obviously do the math there, but the needle going towards Aasbo. So the fans on the online poll are saying 60% Aasbo, 40% RCP. It's fluctuating as I'm kind of talking about it here. and Freddie, the Norwegian Hammer, you see him, like you said, missing that second outside clipping zone was RCP.
Yeah.
Back-to-back defending champion, inputting the scores. All right, so RCP second in points coming to this round of competition. Second place in Long Beach. We're only one round in. Currently at second round of 8. Rome in the green, yellow, and pink. BMW taking a look at the BC Racing Go for Gold. Side-by-side instant replay, Ryan.
All right, looking at both of these runs, you can see the proximity is fairly similar coming up the hill here. You can see on the left side, Rome compressed really nicely with Aasbo. Aasbo was deeper in outside zone number 2 in the lead position, but the second portion of the track, Aasbo was definitely closer to Rome than Rome was to Aasbo. You could see both drivers, you know, making little compromises here and there, both tapping a cone here and there, but, you know, dropping the tire outside of the keyhole is always an issue. We're trying to get the drivers to stay off of that little triangle of grass.
Let's take a look at this one more time. Fredric Aasbo and Fredric Aasbo. Aasbo gets the win. Hey, here's a fun fact that Lorette just texted me. Rome had no power steering in qualifying, and it was Steph Papadakis that came over to help him fix the problem so that they could actually battle Fredric Aasbo.
Wow, that's
sportsmanship. So again, shout out to the Papadakis Racing team, helping Rome get power steering. So very, very cool, and again, appreciate that. But eventually, Fredric Aasbo gets the win and advances on to the Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Fredric Aasbo gets the win. Here we go, James Dean, speaking of another 3-time champion, James Dean, but he is piloting this AutoZone Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. A brand new ride for him, only the second event he's ever been in, and he was driving the wheels off this thing, but he's going against Trenton Beecham. He's got a new ride, he's got a new Steve. This Blonex, next in tires, BMW, massive angle there from him. Backs it in, massive angle, look at Trenton Beecham. He was right there all up in that smoke, in that second outside zone. And that second inside clip, I mean, James Dean is driving this like he's driven it his entire life. People would dream about drifting like this. And this is second ever event. He looked like, I mean, he looked like Vaughn just driving behind the wheel. No offense to James or Vaughn, but I'm just saying it looks like he's driven it his whole entire life. Well done.
So the amount of angle running through inside clip 1 was pretty great here. Trenton in chase position, can't match the angle, straightens up, coming by that touch and go area and goes pretty much straight there up in outside zone number 1. James does not fill outside zone number 2. Another driver unable to get up there and fill that zone. He got right to the inside line of that zone. He gets the bumper hanging over the touch and go. Does a great job at inside clip number 3. But that was a great drive from James Dean. Very high energy, lots of throttle usage, big angle everywhere. And you can see in the chase position there that Trenton Beecham was a little bit behind on everything that was happening, right?
He was just on initiation, he's like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, holy cow. The amount of angle, it seemed like, and keep in mind, James Dean is the first ever right-hand drive 2024 Ford Mustang RTR. That's what's cool, too. They built that specifically for him.
Just for him, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seemed like he was just backing that thing in, and Trenton's like, wait, you're on the wrong side. Oh, no, you're on the right side for yourself.
A little bit better now. You're on.
Okay. All right, throw it down to the red Nicholas with Chris Forsberg.
We were just talking about Road Atlanta and how treacherous this course can be, and you are unfortunately experiencing some issues this whole weekend, so what's going on?
Oh, not necessarily this weekend. Just what we've been experiencing is just a change of track temperature, right? So we were feeling really good on our practice before qualifying, and then we could roll into the night, and the track tightened up, and we qualified kind of mid-pack because we weren't able to get into that upper keyhole. But outside of that, the engine's running very, very well. We did have a failure in 32 in Irwindale last year and then Long Beach, but I think we kind of found a solution to it. The car's running 100%. We're just giving it a quick once-over as we're moving into top 16.
Okay, and you also said that in qualifying you were running your hot weather setup. Did that cause a few issues?
Yeah, so because we were kind of early to run in the dusk, the track was cooling off. We didn't think it was fully cooled off, and we didn't put our nighttime setup, kind of loosen the car up a little bit. So we ran our warm setup, and it was just a little too tight going up that hill, and that's what kind of got me to miss that keyhole. And so just those little things, especially on this track, make such a difference for taking it to the podium.
Perfect, Chris. Thank you so much, Jared. Ryan.
Thank you so much, Lorette. Thank you so much, Chris Forsberg. We'll see you in the top 16. Different setups. And now we're seeing James Dean scrub his tires real quick. Trenton Beecham on the start line. Trenton Beecham, new build. LS under the hood of the BMW is running the LS under the hood of the Mustang. Now he's parked the Mustang and said, hey, let's throw this under the hood of this BMW. James Dean chasing down Beecham. Welcome back, James Dean, to Formula Drift. Trent Beecham coming down the hill. Little straight line approach, handbrake in that first clip. Now coming up the hill is Beecham, James Dean on pace. Into that second outside zone. How do they manage? Oh, look at that. James Dean, a bit of a hookup, diving in on the inside. Having some issues there is James Dean. And James has an issue from that outside zone too. What went wrong? And that looked independent. That did not look like, I don't know, did Beecham throw him off? I really don't think so at first glance.
I don't think so either, Jared. It looked like either a misshift potentially or some kind of hiccup in the car that caused him to not be able to get back on throttle. He didn't have the power to put down there. And he ended up quite a bit inside. It looked like potentially 2 tires off in that keyhole, that grass teardrop, as you called it earlier. So on initiation, both drivers looking good. Trenton did run over that inside clip, but right here is the big situation, the big error from James Dean right there. It looked like the car stalled up in a very serious way, and he managed to keep it at angle by, if it was a shifting issue, he managed to jam it in gear and get back on throttle, but all of his momentum was gone by that point, and he wasn't able to continue around the teardrop, so he ended up on the inside. This drone view here will give us the best view of what happened. So look at the momentum, the pace that James is carrying, and the car just slows down. That was 2, potentially 3 tires on the inside on that teardrop. And if that's 3 tires, that'll be an incomplete. And you can couple that with the incomplete from Beecham on his lead. That's 2 incompletes in the chase position, which would force us to revert to just looking at the lead runs.
So Ryan, assessing that, it does seem that he did have 3 tires off, so that would essentially deem James Dean an incomplete. But Beecham had an incomplete on his chase run as well. So yeah, we always say lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Obviously, who had a better lead when they led, who had a better chase when they chased.
Yeah. So in this situation, yeah, we're looking at 2 incompletes from the chases. We revert to the leads only. We can't look at the chases because they both had incompletes there. And looking at the leads, you're analyzing who put the car better positioned on the track. So let's look at the BC Racing side by side and look at the initiation. James Dean's chasing leading on the left, and on the right you see Trenton Beecham. So both drivers coming up the hill here pretty well. Both looks like James is a little bit deeper in zone number 1. Trent did a great job in outside zone number 2. Coming down the hill, looking at positioning here, it's kind of hard to see through the smoke. We did get a little glimpse of what James Dean did on the touch and go. He did a good job there. Couldn't tell with Trenton because there was too much smoke, but we're going to have to see what the judges all chose.
The other judges. You are a judge too, by the way, Ryan.
I already have mine in. I don't know what they did.
All right, so again, lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Taking a look, James Dean, Trenton Beecham, and it looks like James Dean gets the win. James Dean gets the win, and we talked about, again, both of them having mistakes, incompletes on those chase runs, and unfortunately for Trent Beecham, James Dean just a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more on the lead.
Where at those particular areas as you walk through it, but just elaborate again.
Mainly outside zone 1. It looked like Trenton actually did get into outside zone 2 briefly, but James did more of a long sweep close to it, and then Beecham on the inside clip 1 did hit the clip, so he had a tire off there. So just more accurate, more smooth, and better flow through the course.
Next up, Odi Bakshi's Nick Novak. Odi Bakshi's campaigning, obviously his car, but alongside him, Simon Olsen. We'll see him in the final battle of 32. And also Ben Hobson who got second place last night in Pro Spec. So 3 of the Bakshi's team vehicles out there. Feel suspension, little pedal commander action, Vortex supercharged S chassis. So a lot of data sharing going down here for that Bakshi's camp. Odie will lead. Nick Novak giving chase, that Jerry Yang Racing BMW. Coming down the hill, Odie Bakshi's initiates. Almost identical angle there from Bakshi's and Novak. Now into that first outside zone. Look how settled that car is. Nick Novak almost has a beeline towards that second outside zone. Now attacks onto the second inside clip. And Odie Bakshi's completes and rounds it out as Novak overshoots it, gets in the dirt, and gravel machine guns that outside wall as he passes that final inside clip.
Yeah, Novak hung up way out there, but first let's look at going up the hill. You can see that Bakshi's does a great job on 1. Outside zone 2, he gets in, leaves it. He did a very good job on zone 2, considering what we've been seeing here. He filled it almost entirely. Novak just drops the tire, leaving the horseshoe, and Novak gets lost, I think, in the smoke on transition coming inside clip 3, drops 2 tires in the dirt as he crosses the finish line. So that'll be a little issue for him on the chase-to-chase comparisons. He did go off there, so we'll have to see what happens with Odie Bakshi's on his chase. So now Novak has to get in the lead position and place his car really well. Odie did a great job in outside zone number 2, which has been a real challenging spot for all the drivers in top 32 so far. Only a couple of drivers have really gone out there into outside zone 2. So Odie did it really well. Nick Novak now needs to do it just as well or better.
Yeah, Odie was really clean, settled. You know, you got to think about Odie applying his suspension knowledge to his team, and then with all of that track data between Novak, Simon Olsen, and him, all S chassis. So a lot of data there to be spread, and then Odie Bakshi's kind of refining it like the suspension expert that he is. Hey, if you haven't checked it out, Atlanta, we got a halftime, and Atlanta, it's time to put your drifting skills to the test. Head over to the Sim Magic Activation tent and get ready to experience the ultimate drift simulators. Our simulators offer a hyper-realistic drifting experience that will leave you feeling like a pro. Check out Sim Magic. Also, during that halftime break, myself and Larry Chen will be over at the podium. So we got Larry Chen, and guess what? We're going to have some drivers. Drivers TBD, but you're going to want to be over there. Also talking to my boy Hansel at Lean Customs. You know the pins, right? Well, he actually gifted me one. Did you see this one, Ryan? It's 20-year anniversary, Atlanta.
That's nice.
That's with the VIP pack, dude.
I'm jealous.
So, get the VIP pack, 20-year pins. Also, limited edition Matt Field ATL pins. I don't know if they're still available, but every round. So, again, do it for Keith. All right, Keith. Thank you so much. How about do it for Tyler? Tyler at CoroWorks. Shout out to you, homeboy. Thinking about you, Tyler. At CoroWorks, got a message from Greg Bussell and the CoroWorks family. Tyler, we're pulling for you, buddy. Stay strong, homeboy. Send it. Want to see you here. Want to see you at Orlando. Want to see you at Irwindale. Want to see you at Formula Drift. You and your lovely wife, Lauren.
Jared, I don't
Yes,
know
sir.
if you knew that our friend, good friend up in Canada, passed away recently. She was part of FD Canada. She was part of DMCC.
Yeah.
Really, really sad. Vicky Shank, who we've known,
man.
you know, Vicky Weeks now, but
Yep.
she's had a tough go with cancer through a lot of her life, and unfortunately lost the battle a couple of weekends ago. And I just wanted to give a shout out to her family. They've been so involved in drifting from day one. You know, back in 2004.
She's always smiling, dude. She's always giving
smiling.
hugs.
Yeah. So I hope she's in a better place now.
Yeah, Vicky, thinking of you and
Yeah.
thinking of your family, and thanks for all that you contributed to the drifting family. So thank you so much, Vicky, and thank you to your family and all that you've done and continue to do. So, you know, think about the good times. Thank you so much, Vicky, for all that you've done. All right, let's continue on with the action. The tractor clearing out the track. And we will continue the second half of this battle. After this, we got 3 more battles after this. And you can see the track conditions, Ryan, we saw last night, yesterday into the evening. They changed drastically.
Yeah.
And we heard Forsberg touching on it just a little bit. The hot settings, the cool settings. Let's call them the daytime settings, day and night, right? Little Kid Cudi action here. Day and night settings. How much is that going to change?
That's going to change significantly. So top 32 right now is pretty consistent, I would say. There's a bit of cloud cover, but the heat is still here, and I think it's going to change in a bigger way when we get into top 16 later on, especially after that break, right? We're going to have, what, a couple of hours of downtime. That's going to really transition the track into the cold, and I think the drivers are all going to have a different setup for that. But there is no practice with that setup, so they just have to go right into it.
All right, so let's throw it down to Lorette, who is with our most recent winner, James Dean.
Well, a bit of a wild one against Trenton Beecham due to a misshift. What happened?
Yeah, so we did our lead run. I was feeling really strong. Felt like we had quite an advantage from talking to my spotter. And then I was like, right, let's just do a nice calculated chase run, try to be exactly where we needed to be, not to get, lost in the smoke being too far back or not mess up by being too close. And I felt like everything was going really nice until I was coming into the keyhole. I went for a drop from 4th gear to 3rd gear. I missed a shift, and it was in neutral. I pushed again to try to get it again. It still didn't go in, and then I just started hammering it. I got some gear, I think it was 2nd gear. Then I was on the back foot kind of then for the rest of the run. So definitely a sketchy, intense moment, but yeah, glad to be by that one.
James, thanks so much for your transparency. Guys, back to you.
Thank you so much, Lorette Nickel, as the track. A lot of tire debris out there on course, trying to get it all off, and that plays a role into the drivers getting ice. In traditional football, there's James Dean's ride. If you see those back wheels, they're a little turbofan-esque. They're just basically more style discs, because Vaughn didn't particularly like that the wheels weren't deep dish, so he says let's change it up a little bit. So usually you see those on rally cars or even kind of DTM cars, those the turbofans. Just want to do something a little different. Look at also the RTR, the new 2024 Mustang RTR will be debuted in Orlando. I'm going to be out there on Wednesday in just about a week and a half. So Vaughn, Gittin Jr., and myself and the other RTR drivers will be debuting the all-new Ford Mustang RTR. So it's the street version as opposed to the race car. So it's the street version of RTR. So the application of what Vaughn has done for race cars will be applied to a street car, just as he has done in previous iterations of the Ford Mustang. So this is an all-new 2024 RTR street version. How we doing up there, Atlanta? Yeah, see yourself up there on the big screen. Thanks for joining us out here. And I know a lot of, with us coming here for 20 years, a lot of the fans, they say, all right, I know it's hot out there. I'm just going to chill for a little bit, and these stands are going to be packed tonight. According to President of Formula Drift, Ryan Sage, he says these are the most pre-sold tickets we've ever sold at Atlanta. That equates to a damn good time, I'll tell you what. So this place is going to be insane tonight. So really, really looking forward to that. So should be awesome. What are your expectations, Ryan?
Well, Atlanta never seems to disappoint in terms of energy level from the fans and excitement about the track and the driving. So I'm expecting that, but multiplied by maybe a couple of factors because of all the people.
Vaughn's back, James Dean's back, Kristaps back, Matt Fields leading the charge. Chris Forsberg, Ken Gushi, they've been here since day one, haven't stopped since 2004. They've been to every single event.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, notable thing there.
Yeah.
So, but you got these new names, Nick Novak, and I was talking to Amy Bakshi's Odie's spotter last night. They've been coming here for 13 years, so that's quite a bit of time as well. But we'd love to continue their success here today and tonight. Nick Novak, Odie Bakshi's. Novak shreds off that back bumper. Odie Bakshi's now chasing down Novak into that first outside zone. You can see now coming to that second outside zone. Here goes Nick Novak, gets into the dirt, but Odie Bakshi's pedals back. Novak dives in on that second inside clip into the keyhole now. Out to the touch and go in that final inside clip. So a bit of a lull in the action there. What kind of role does that play in their heads, man? And obviously the equipment, the cars, keeping the tires warm, that changes the dynamic as well.
Yeah, it certainly does. You can see Novak here struggling a little bit. He misses inside clip number 1. As he comes up the hill, does a pretty good job in outside zone number 1, but then outside zone 2 goes a little too deep, goes 2 tires off in that zone. Manages to keep the car at angle, not over-rotating, not straightening, and Odie's right there with him. Odie did a great job of adapting through that area, kind of being patient and letting Novak get back on track. And we can see that Odie did a pretty good job in the chase position. So as they initiate from the drone view, you can can see Odie doing a good job of mimicking angle, transition, end line. A little bobble from him there, but he's doing a great job of staying in proximity throughout the entire run.
The Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Odie Bakshi advances on through it into the top 16. Congratulations to Odie Bakshi. He moves on. Speaking of the Rockstar Energy Drink, let's talk to the 3-time and defending champion, Fredric Aasbo. Lorette?
Well, first time we've been able to catch up. Fredric, you're going to see battle against James Dean. You know that you really have to put everything on the line with that one.
Absolutely, but that goes for any of these guys. And I just battled Rome now, and that he was by far the fastest guy I've ever tried to chase on this track. So he's on a huge tier, obviously doing well in Long Beach, and now James in 16. I mean, this is crazy.
Absolutely, Freddie. Thanks so much. We'll see him in top 16, guys.
Fingers crossed, toes crossed, but we'll see if he crosses that line, being the victor. Aasbo, James Dean, that should be fun, man. That should be really, really fun. And again, taking out, so you got to think, Aasbo taking out Rome, he's going to jump up in points as well. All right, some more Ford Mustang for your diet, courtesy of Chelsea Denofa. I know he's got the pizza steering wheel. Love to see the pizza on the rims. And he's going against Travis Reeder. These guys are great friends. You know, they lived really close to each other when the Denofas were still living in the Pacific Northwest. The Denofas now residing in Florida, but Travis Reeder staying in the PNW, the Nicholas GT Radial BMW, all red, new red, red all over. And we got the Pennzoil BC Racing Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD on Nitto tires. Chelsea Denofa coming down the hill. Say howdy, get rowdy. Little Monchi entry for Chelsea Denofa. Big angle from Denofa coming up the hill. I know they swapped the engine last night. They had some issues, but it seems to be 100% right now. Gets into the dirt, a lot of dirt. Wow, he hung it out there for quite some time. The sand people getting blasted right here in front of the judges stand. And now into that final inside clip. Chelsea, man, he was out there doing more, again, RTR, fun having off-road than he was going on track.
And now we're getting all that dust in our face. Oof. All right, great initiation from both drivers. You see a bit of a gap there behind Chelsea, but Reeder is getting tighter. He kind of took a tighter line slightly there through zone 1. Chelsea goes one tire off through the entirety of outside zone number 2. Reeder's right there with him as he comes through the second part of this course. And Reeder right there, lost some angle trying to avoid that inside clip. It looked like he was going to drop a tire there, and he sort of tried to push the car out a little bit and not go offline or off course there, but had a bit of a bobble in the car, so a bit of a correction from Reeder right there. Chelsea just needs to put together a cleaner chase run, stay close longer through the run to improve on Reeder's chase run, and Reeder going into the lead needs to get deep in zone 1 without dropping a tire in zone 2. So deep in 1, deep in 2, and he should be able to best Chelsea.
Tighten it up, dial it in, put a bow on it. Travis Reeder past that inside clip. Thought Chelsea would be a little bit more on the side of Travis Reeder as they go into that second outside zone. That's what you're talking about. Reeder did what he needed to do. Does Chelsea have it? He transitions out. Keeping a consistent distance is Chelsea Denofa, but not exactly the aggressive Denofa that we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Seemed like he just had a kind of a buffer. Just couldn't get him all the way there, which, hey, kudos to Travis Reeder.
Yeah, Travis put together a really great lead run. You can see coming by inside clip 1, nice and tight there. Transitions up the hill. Great job coming up through outside zone number 1. Goes nice and wide up to outside zone 2. Fills pretty much the entire thing. Chelsea's right there with him, but kind of falls off a little bit as they come down the hill here, as they transition to outside zone, or sorry, the inside clip number 3. This is going to be a tough one, Jared. Let's watch this again from the drone. Chelsea didn't get the car rotated super aggressively at initiation, kind of rolled into it there. Coming up the hill, where does Chelsea position his car? Just ever so slightly inside. Doesn't go quite as wide in zone 2. Yeah, that's a tricky one, Jared. They're kind of trading mistakes and trading achievements, let's say, throughout the course.
I'll let you kind of analyze that, and I know you are as you kind of talk and walk us through. Ryan Lontaine, co-host as well as judge. So, and Brian Eggert, Chris Ewell, alongside Ryan Lontaine.
our four judging panel, 3 judges being utilized at each round of competition. Brian Eggert sat out at our first round. And right now, again, 3 judges. Chris Yule, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lantain, Robin Ishida sitting out this round. Assisting Sean Adriano with driving steward duties. Chelsea Denofa, Travis Reeder, one more time, and there you go. OMT across the board. I absolutely agree with that. Just, you know, if these are judged runs, didn't have that X factor, had mistakes on either side, split the difference, I think that's completely justifiable.
Yeah, you could tell as I was talking through it, I couldn't find anybody that had a clear advantage in any one area really over each other. So it's one of those situations. We have to see them go again.
Is this the first one more time we've seen?
It is.
It's the first one more time we've seen here in top 32. So yeah, Denofa and Reeder, OMT. All right, so Hughes and Gushi is who we're going to see next there on the start line. Dylan Hughes will lead, out qualifying the OG, Kenshiro Gushi, in his Mati's Toyota Racing GR86. Dylan Hughes, Royal Purple, is running the 2J under the hood of the Royal Purple BMW. I'm gonna have some words with him at halftime as well. Oh my gosh! Oh my Gushi! Gushi over-rotates, and that will be an incomplete. Dylan Hughes does need to continue, so the dozer will need to continue through the course. He will have an advantage as long as he keeps it sideways. And he does. So Dylan Hughes, the needle just went completely the side of the dozer. Dylan Hughes in that purple BMW. Oh man, again, issues for, unfortunately, man.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
Been a bummer day here as, you know, we had the 4 Toyota vehicles. You know, Fredric Aasbo, he's still in, but right now, Jonathan Castro, Ryan Tuerck, they're knocked out. This is the last of the 4 Musketeers.
Yeah. So you can see Gushi throwing too much angle at the car at initiation, gets the car over-rotated, does manage to get around inside clip 1, but unfortunately that'll be an incomplete from him for straightening up after that. And then you see in the lead position, Dylan Hughes really putting together a good run, nice and smooth, got up to outside zone 2, and finished the track there with authority. And then you can see as Gushi crosses the line, the car snaps to the left and he goes off the track, hits one of the 3-2-1 cones, comes back onto the track without any other incident. Didn't hit anything, but it has to make you wonder about if there's an issue with the car not really handling that well.
We are hearing that Ken Gushi has called a competition timeout, the NGK competition timeout, 5-minute allotment. See what's going on with the car. Obviously got a little bit of a cold, got a little bit of sniffles, so hopefully he can clean it up. But he does have a disadvantage. NGK competition timeout. What is all this talk about high ignitability? You know what it is? Well, high ignitability is the ability of a spark plug to maximize combustion efficiency for the most incomplete fuel burn. And NGK is leading the way. Modern engines demand simultaneous precision and durability to achieve uncompromised performance. Special tips, precious metals, and NGK know how converge to create a high-quality ignitability plug to deliver a quicker throttle response, smoother idle, and better cold starts. So, if you don't want to be left at the starting line or out in the cold, choose NGK high ignitability spark plugs. They're lit. Jeff Jones, Simon Olsen, this was to be our final battle. But we're going to go back to the one more time of Denofa Reeder and finish out the Hughes-Gushi battle. So right now, Jones and Olsen. All right, Jones, this Evo Auto Works, Nissan 370Z, Simon Olsen, Field Suspension, GT Radial, S Chassis. Simon Olsen from Norway joining the Bokshi's camp. As we take a look at the 5-minute clock is ticking. That's Gushi in the pits, and the cars are sent. Jeff Jones on the lead, Simon Olsen in the chase position. Yeah, you can see those things fire up. Well done by Jones. Olsen jumps right to the side of Jones. Simon Olsen's second ever event in an S chassis and an LS chassis.
Both these guys running LS, supercharged. Jeff Jones, great job there, filling all that second outside zone. Simon Olsen dives in, but unfortunately came in a little too hot and had to back off. So you saw him fall out of angle. You saw Simon dive in on that inside clip too and had to fall back, and that straightened him out, fell out of angle.
Yeah, he got himself positioned a little too far forward next to Jones, and that put him in a really tight spot when that inside clip was coming up. But let's start the runoff here by looking at the initiation. You can see right there that Simon Olsen hit inside clip 1, but coming up the hill, positioned himself a little bit better. As they get to zone 2, Jones gets his tire in the box for outside zone 2, but Simon gets too far to the inside, and he's on that tighter line that puts him at a very disadvantageous position. He's really going to be on a tighter line, which means he's going to get there a lot sooner than Jeff, and he is a little bit ahead of Jeff, not where you want to be as you come into that inside clip. He does hit the inside clip, loses angle, and unfortunately that's not the ideal positioning for him, so he's going to be at a deficit for that. Jones, on the other hand, did a great job through outside zone number 2, got the car positioned through 1 and 2 pretty well, and I think his run overall was pretty sharp. That initiation by Jones was pretty snappy as well, if you were paying attention, Jared.
Yeah, no, I was.
You saw it? Yeah, I saw your eyebrows go up like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. That was pretty solid. I said, look, he's lighting him up. You saw smoke kind of just rip out of it as he went to initiate and engage. All right.
So you can see Gushi here, the team working hard, trying to fix the front end of that car, which, yeah, you've got 2.5 minutes to go. It looked like there was something wrong with the steering, the way that the initiation kind of snapped on him. But let's go down to Lorette and see what she has to say.
Ryan, thank you very much. Ken Gushi in his car, his team working on the front, and I've heard that you're having steering issues. Is that right?
Yeah, we got bumped in practice and actually had 0 laps throughout the day, and got that fixed. Thought it was okay. It felt fine in the burnout box. As soon as I threw it in behind Dylan, I had no steering and completely went backwards into turn 1. So I have a feeling it's the steering shaft hitting the downpipe again, which happened last year during our top 32. But yeah, we'll try to see if we can get sorted out.
Does that mean that something's coming loose?
Perhaps, yeah. It could be the downpipe V-band clamp that's just coming loose and shifting the entire the exhaust system to the steering shaft side, or something. I don't know. I mean, it's just a mixture of things that's going on this weekend, and I can't really pinpoint what exactly the problem is. But I mean, I trust my team. They got it down, so we'll see how it goes.
Ken, thank you for your time. Guys?
Thank you so much, Lorette. That's just an unfortunate turn of events there for, again, the Goosh OG. Original Gushi has been competing here since 2004. Again, we've seen him just grow up over the years. I mean, 16 years old back in the day. And here he is, you know, just a grown man with, you know, corporate Toyota sponsorship. He's been actively working with Toyota for quite some time. And here we go, the second half of this battle. Simon Olsen, Jeff Jones. Olsen coming down the hill. Vortex in charge of LS. Initiates in front of Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones going with that straight line approach. That Higa Autoworks Nissan 370Z. Talk about another driver that's really progressed. Jones, but not progressing to the side of Simon. Needs to get in that proximity. See if that big drift energy shows up. Shooting out some body parts, some clips. I mean, a lot of shrapnel there. What, big drift energy?
Was that the base from the
inside
clip that went flying?
Just stuff everywhere.
Well, Gushi's down on the ground. It looks like he made his competition timeout.
Yeah, we'll see if he's 100% though. You know, kind of inspecting, throwing everything at it.
As we inspect this replay, Jeff gets a bit of a stepped initiation behind Simon, I believe, there. Coming up the hill, they both transition nicely. So Jeff does not fill outside zone 1 the way that Simon did. Simon does a good job in outside zone 2. Jeff is right there. As they come out of the horseshoe, they both drop a tire on that grass area that we despise so much. Oh, that was a bumper that Jeff destroyed after Simon lost it from hitting inside clip number 3. So Jeff has a bit of a hesitation on transition there. Does not go to outside zone 1. Doesn't go as deep in outside zone 2 as Simon either. And then coming down the hill here, they both drop that tire. So they both have errors in the chase position. It's going to come down, I believe, to that lead run.
Yeah, did either of them have a more dominant lead run to take out the other?
Jeff Jones, Simon Olsen waiting. You can see Chelsea Denofa entering that Pedal Commander burnout box. Tonight, it's going to get lit, courtesy of Type S. Type S got some special deals on-site only at all Formula Drift rounds of competition. So here is how our bracket is shaping up. 3 more spots to fill. Odie Bakshi's waiting to find out who he's going against. But Gittin's back in at Robbins, Hurst, Field, Hull, Kelly. And so is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle riding with Jeff Jones. Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Who's advancing on to 16? This track has seen some abuse. Again, that keyhole paved just for us 20 years ago. Just went kind of just past, and now they paved that just for us. Jeff Jones, Simon Olsen, slide him left for Jones, right for Olsen, and Jeff Jones gets the win unanimously. Jeff Jones gets the win. Simon Olsen, unfortunately, knocked out. Very excited to see how Simon Olsen progressed, and he's just getting better and better with that S chassis being debuted there in Long Beach and the Bakshi's family.
All right, so this is a one more time battle, Jared,
Yep,
starting from scratch here. So this will be run 1 in the one more time battle between Chelsea Denofa and Travis Reeder. They both made some mistakes that we didn't like in run 1, in the first battle in both of their runs. So we're looking for them to clean it up now and really put together solid lead and chase runs so they can find a winner.
And also feature that X factor, which has become so apparent and a criteria that we're looking for. And we know both these guys have it. Chelsea Denofa initiates, barely nudges that inside clip. Now up the hill into that first outside zone. Second outside zone goes Chelsea. Travis Reeder, he's got great proximity. And there you see Chelsea rip away, hitting that rev limiter. Oh, wow, Travis Reeder shuts it down. Reeder and that Nicholas Old Red BMW GT Radials shuts it down, exiting the keyhole. Didn't see if he hit the dirt or did he just kind of shut down mysteriously.
It looked sort of like the car just straightened up. Maybe it's a mechanical, maybe a misshift, maybe a brake, who knows. So looking at the initiation, both doing a great job. Chelsea is at great angle coming up the hill. You can see in the chase there, Reeder stumbling a little bit through outside zone 1, but comes through outside zone 2 pretty well. And as they exit the horseshoe, that is exactly where everything shuts down for Travis Reeder. Chelsea continues on and does a great job in the lead position. He cleaned up his lead tremendously compared to the previous battle. So Chelsea laid down a really solid lead run. He stayed in outside zone number 2 pretty well through it and didn't drop the tire like he did in the previous battle. So this is a much cleaner run from Chelsea. I liked his angle up the hill through outside zone 1 to 2. He really used the angle in the vehicle to slow down and did it really precisely.
All right, here we go as we are taking a look. Travis Reeder initiating. Chelsea Denofa in the chase position. Travis Reeder needs to put down a heater of a run. Travis, the heater Reeder, now blazing a trail up to that second outside zone. Fills all of it. Chelsea Denofa out of the keyhole, and Reeder with that wide swing. See that line? He kind of went wide and then tightened it up to that touch and go. And Chelsea kept pace. So unfortunately for Reeder, that mistake coming out of the keyhole, and that Nicholas GT Radial BMW Nicholas, be sure to check them out.
Yeah, great proximity here from Chelsea as he comes up the hill. You can see him drop a tire there at the downhill touch and go, but mimicking what Reeder's doing in the lead. Reeder did a great job in outside zone number 2. Little off of inside clip number 2, but this is where he made his major mistake. Went way wide here and just gave Chelsea the opportunity to stick it to his door coming down the hill. So Reeder did make a couple of mistakes there, and you can see that Chelsea Denofa is going to advance on as all 3 judges choose Chelsea Denofa.
Chelsea Denofa gets the win. He's going to be going against Odie Bakshi's. One more battle left here in our Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Chelsea Denofa, he advances on in that Pennzoil Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD on Netto tires. One more driver, Dylan Hughes, Kenshiro Gushi. Again, Gushi has that incomplete right there on initiation he talked about. Unfortunately, some steering issues. We'll see. Hey, join myself and Larry Chen over at the FD podium. You can see it when you walk down the hill. Join us over there right after this battle. This is our final battle of Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32, myself, Larry Chen, and some special guests courtesy of K&N Air Filters, the official air filter of Formula Drift. So join us over at the Formula Drift podium. Also, a lot of activities down there in the pits. Grab a Rockstar Energy Drink, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. Final battle, second half of it. Gushi with that deficit, unfortunately. That Modi's 3s Racing, Toyota Racing GR86. Dylan Hughes, the Royal Purple, GT Radial, BMW.
Yeah, Gushi had that big spin on initiation, unfortunately. So he's going to be, like you said, at a big deficit due to that. We'll see what happens here if he was able to fix it.
Yeah, that gets a little hairy there on initiation for Dylan Hughes. You know, how much does he commit? Because if that car snaps back and Dylan's right there, you don't want to get taken out. But it looks like Dylan Hughes does continue on. Ken Gushi into that second outside zone. He fills all of it. Now, Royal Purple, BMW, you can see him nosing on in. Whoa, he stays into it. And now, coming down into that final flip. All right, so let's take a look at it here once again. And again, that was a big major spin for Ken Gushi. What I want to focus on here is outer zone 2 into inner clip 2, Ryan.
In this situation, you can see that Gushi in the lead is very cautious. Look at him coming up the hill. He's not 100% sure. The car's losing angle here and there. He's not committed on throttle. He's not really maintaining the pace that we'd like to see. And he got a weird line through there coming to inside clip number 2 that I think surprised Dylan. I wouldn't put that fully on Dylan because of, even right here, you can see that Gushi's not 100% sure going by inside clip 3. He's lifting off the throttle. He's not committed. He's a little cautious. You can see that big bobble there coming up the hill. So I can't 100% put that on Dylan. Dylan was doing his best to stay close there, considering that Gushi did have those issues with his run in the lead position. But you have to give it to Gushi. He went out there and put out an attempt, threw the car out there, threw caution to the wind, and did the best he could in the lead position with definitely with a car that was hurt, you know, that he wasn't 100% sure about. And that takes a lot of commitment in itself right there, with throw a car down the hill at that speed.
Our final battle, the Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Dylan Hughes, Kenshiro Gushi, and Dylan the Dozer Hughes advances on. Kenshiro Gushi, the Modi's Toyota Racing GR86 is a wrap, so our top 16 is set. I'm going to go over to the FD podium, wrap out with Larry Chen, some special guests. Also, I'll be down at the Royal Purple booth, talking with Dylan the Dozer Hughes, who's going to be in the top 16. Ryan, what are you going to be doing?
Lunch, dinner,
sounds good.
Whatever, food.
Get
We're going to be relaxing and getting ready for top 16.
Keep it cool, keep the track hot, don't go anywhere, because guess what? We're back here on track for our top 16 United States Air Force top 16 on MAV TV. So be sure to check that out, as again, our top 16 opening ceremonies at 7:30. We'll line up the cars, opening ceremony 7:30, and we'll kick things off to find out who wins here at round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. On behalf of all our judges, Chris Yule, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lantain, Robin Ishida, thank you to Sean Adriano, Ryan Sage, our whole team. Be sure to listen to Outer Zone, the official Formula Drift podcast hosted by Jacob. So thanks so much for joining us out here. But we'll be back here, local time at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Local time currently 5:45. Do the math. Send it. This is the road to the championship.
I've won the championship twice now. I think we can do it again.
Let's go. Let's do this.
Your winner at round 1. Look at Aasbo. He's a magician. Here we go. Rain or shine, these guys are down for a good time. You can't count anybody out.
Everybody's really pushing the envelope. One mistake, and that's it.
Oh my goodness.
What did I do wrong? I don't get it.
So it's all about attrition here in St. Louis.
Oh.